everybody. My name is Bennett.
I'm Zombie Xander.
And we're here to bring you the, I guess, official first in the series for the GetRekt tournament series going from the spring season. Spring and summer season.
Technically the whole year through August with the LAN tournament is going to be season 1, but they've split it up a little bit as far as spring and summer seasons go.
All right.
But well, here we go.
Here we go.
Getting ready for
some stuff.
Some stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know us, that's probably okay. I mean, we cast a bunch of Destiny stuff yet. So if you've not watched any competitive Destiny stuff, that's where we come from. Not playing. We don't handle that.
We can't do that.
No, we don't do that. But, and also let me double check on here and make sure that everything is looking good. Okay, great. We should be able to be heard, and somebody will tell us if we're not. And so let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to be looking at today. So this first tournament started off yesterday. Yesterday, the 26th. Yes, my calendar is correct. The 26th. And so we started off with a bunch of individual player streams going through 24 total teams of 4, and running through a double elimination bracket. So, Xander, why don't you tell us what a double elimination bracket looks like for anybody that gets confused by it sometimes, like me.
All right, so double elimination bracket, you have to lose 2 series to be out of the tournament. Every single game in the winner's bracket is going to be best of 5 or has been best of 5. Yeah. And then every game in the loser's bracket up until today has been best of 3. So a little bit more of a sudden death experience if you get relegated to that loser's bracket.
Nice word.
Thank you. I know words sometime.
Uh-huh.
So should we go over...
Well, let's take a look at kind of what we've looked at in the past for this and the way that this league is going to be working overall, just because this is the first entry into it.
Good point.
Yeah. So taking a look at this GetRekt tournament series, the way that it's going to work is we're going to have a series of tournaments, as would make sense, a series of tournaments over the next couple of months leading up to a major event in August where we're going to have the final. And now that final has a prize pool of 3,600 pounds. It's very heavy. We're American, so it's British pounds, which is something like, I don't know, $15,000 or 20 million, something like that.
It's close to that, I think.
Yeah, but a 3,600-pound prize pool, and that's going to be basically all of the entries for that are based on all of these tournaments. So all of these teams are playing through, and individual players are getting points assigned to them based on how they finish on those teams. So players can kind of swap teams a little bit, moving in not too much though, and so they'll be playing through this whole tournament series, building up all of their points based on tournament finishes so that they can then get entered and seeded into this final tournament, which is going to be probably pretty cool.
Right, and you're bringing up points. This season is going to be the first time that we've done some very, very extensive stat tracking across multiple tournaments.
Yeah.
And we'll pull up some of these statistics here real quick just to give you guys an idea of some of the work that our producers have been doing to...
Let's swap over this. All right, so just an example here of some of the stats that we've got built up. We've got things like overall kills for individuals, overall efficiency, things like that. And looking at these now, the one thing that we can kind of call out on some of these is that the overall kills one can be a little bit changed based on the team that you're looking at because of these double elimination bracket formats. If a team goes out early, they might end up playing through more matches overall and have more opportunity for kills. So that's where when you see somebody on this list like Prototype and Radiant, who I don't think that he played on Sinister in the test tournament, and that's where we're getting these first stats from.
Right.
He, I don't think, played through all that much in the loser's bracket, but is still up here on the top overall kills, which makes it more impressive in some cases to see that sort of thing. We've also got efficiency, which is going to be tracked over all matches. We've got Lost Boys leading that with Cyryu from It Had to Be Us, and a couple more going down to that list. And we've got even more things that we're going to be pulling from as we kind of look at that. And those are the statistics that we're going to be using to seed these players.
That's right. It's going to formulate a GetRekt rating over the course of several tournaments and give them a seeding for the LAN tournament in August.
So back over to us. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at what we're dealing with this weekend. Because, sure, all these players are playing for this 3,600-pound prize at this final event over the course of this season, but that doesn't mean they're playing for nothing today. Today's tournament has a 400-pound prize, which will only go to the winner. It's not being split up or anything like that. So only the winner of this double elimination tournament is going to get there. I believe there's also a separate prize for the tourney MVP, but we'll have to find out what that is.
Yes, yeah. We'll get some information on that later.
Get it? Well, yeah, we don't need to deal with that. We don't need to deal with the specifics of what we didn't.
I don't even really need to know.
Yeah,
there's a prize for the MVP.
Probably. So, with that in mind, let's take a look a little bit now too at the. Hold on, I'll flash up this rules screen that I do have and make sure that we've got. I got to do this on the fly because I just added this scene in. Let me make sure that we've actually got a mic set up on that. And
yes, just one moment.
Okay.
I hope you can hear us.
Yep, it is working. So let's take a look at the rule set that we're going to be playing with for this tournament series. So a lot of this is kind of, a standard competitive style rule set. We're doing 4v4, one roster per organization, double elim. You got to have 3 EU players, mainly because, and the tournament's going to be based in the EU. The final one's going to be based in the EU. So it's going to be easier to get a bunch of players that are from the UK and the EU to a UK-based tournament than it will be to get full American teams over to the tournament.
Honestly, makes sense.
Or Asian teams or African teams or anywhere that you're playing what do they call the Southeast Asia one, like Atlantia or something like that, or the Australian area?
Oceania.
Yeah, I don't
know. We've got band weapons, power weapons, Telesto, grenade launchers, wave splitter. Recently added Jotun because that toaster is hot.
Yep. I don't think anybody had any questions about that. As soon as we saw Gigs posting that initial video of gameplay, I think everybody kind of gave a collective
oh, that's what this gun's going to be like.
Looking through the armor, we've got a couple pieces that are just outright banned: Ursa Furiosa, Shards of Galanor, One-Eyed Mask, Wyson Vest, Gemini Jesters. Because, they just make sense.
Just look at them.
Okay, so you don't want to have... the 30-second super running around with that spectral blades and killing everybody and
right. Oh, you mean that 30 seconds is what it's at right now?
If you add the minimum,
right? If you add the Gweiss Vest in there, then it's up to the whole match.
Yeah, pretty much. Your super is up the entire time, and you get all the kills in your team. And people have talked about it, and the GetRekt team has listened. So. Other than that, let's take another look at some other rules that we've got. No dupe subclasses, no dupe exotic items. I'm shortening duplicate to dupe because I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, man.
Does it?
I thought it sounded pretty cool.
Thank you.
I'm going to start using that too.
All right. No intentional suicides, basically taking away points from the other team by killing yourself instead. Radar enabled on all modes, no macros, input file mods. Now, this is a little bit less applicable here because this is a PS4 tourney that we're watching today. So, but if we're on PC, no Titan skating mods or anything like that, or use of intentional glitches or cheeses, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it clean and nice. When it comes to mods that you can use, these are in-game mods. You can have up to 2 identical ones per player, whether that's 2 movement mods, 2 super mods, grenade charge mods, class item charge mods, whatever it is that you want, which is plays a little bit of a part into how you can structure that armor, especially now with the way that they work out and the changes that have been made for some of these things.
Yeah, and then game modes for today: Supremacy, Control, Countdown, and Survival. And if you guys want a little bit more information on this rule set, make sure to head over to GetRekt.co. There is a slew of information in addition to this graphic that you can check out over there.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's cut it back to us as we wait for our gameplay stream to come back up and get ready to get into the first match. And let's go ahead and take a look at the teams that we're going to be watching today and see kind of what they've done and what their path through this overall bracket and stuff like that was.
Yeah, and we're just waiting on these teams to get all set. So
yeah.
We're just going to chat about them real quick.
Yeah, let's chat about them.
So for the first matchup that we have for today, it is going to be the Winners Bracket Finals, Radiant versus Mira.
Yeah. And so watching these teams yesterday, both of them had a pretty easy run through the bracket. Radiant had it a little bit easier. They 3-0'd pretty much everybody except Monsters. Monsters, we kind of noted when we were looking through this yesterday, sharing the name of a team that we had seen last year in some of our PvP Legends events, but I don't think much of that lineup is the same. So in name only, basically, we'll call them. But anyway, so Radiant went 3-0 against everyone except for against the Monsters. And Mira went 3-0 against everyone except for Legion. And that was not an easy match. That was 3-2. It came down to the final survival mode, and it was close until the end. They pulled the last round of that out and made it 4-1. But so with those teams looking at that, we also have the losers bracket semifinal, which is going to have Legion, who played Mira in our winners bracket final, versus It Had to Be Us. Now, It Had to Be Us won the last GetRekt, the test tournament that we did back in November, and they kind of dominated that. Now, there's a little bit of a difference here because this version of It Had to Be Us is only playing with 3 out of the 5 members that they had on their original roster. They had to swap 2 because one is out for the month, and I'm not sure what happened to the other. But so we've got 3 of the members that are staying the same and staying solid throughout, and then 2 that are kind of new and that are in there, which might have contributed a little bit to them going a little bit lower on that bracket, because we also just saw It Had to Be Us in last week's Destiny 2 esports tournament.
That's true.
I think going to the final.
They made it to the grand finals.
Yeah.
Now, something to note: It Had to Be Us and Legion both got sent to the losers bracket by Mira.
Yeah.
And so Mira has already seen both of these guys in the tournament, and one other thing is that, hold on, go back to that sheet real quick.
Okay.
My thought was
Sorry,
tied directly to me looking at that page, and you keep blocking it with various windows.
Sam just can't keep things in his mind.
That's
it's
right.
fine. It's
That's
fine.
right.
It's fine.
Oh, that's
it's
right. Unfortunately, the match between Legion and It Had to Be Us, we will not be watching. That will be happening at the same time as the winners bracket finals, our first matchup that we'll be watching today. But then the winner of that losers bracket finals will face the losers of the match we're about to watch. It's confusing, but it'll make sense if you head over to BattleFi and check out the bracket.
Yeah. It should also be noted that for this, we're going to be playing 4 different match types, and I think those were on that graphics page. Or the rules page. Let me double. Was. So we're going to be doing Supremacy, Control, Countdown, and Survival on a number of different maps. It's a decently long list, so I'm not going to just read through it. But so they're all picked randomly from a random generator that was built by the GetRekt team. And so we'll see that throughout, and we'll kind of go through each one of those as we move forward. So let's go ahead and check and see if we've got our main stream back up.
Okay.
I hear the audio coming through, just waiting on a picture, but I do see it. Okay, well.
We may not have a picture at the moment. We do have sound. And at the very least, you could just listen to us.
I don't know if that's... Is that the draw?
Is that the draw of these tournaments?
Some would say yes. All right, let me go ahead and try to do a quick refresh on this. See if we can pick it up one more time. Oh. Oh. Nothing yet. We'll do one more thing here on the back end, and we'll be right back with you. All right, now we've got video and audio probably coming in from this. We can get one or the other.
We can't tell while nothing's happening on screen.
Yeah, he's actually not really close to anything that would have had any audio coming through. There we go. Okay, everything is here. Everything is working again.
We've got it back. So let's get back to these stats real quick while these teams get into orbit and get ready to rock and roll. All right, so we've got overall team kills, overall team efficiency, and game difference. Now, when you're taking a look at the kills, you have to note that a lot of the higher kills come from the fact that they've been in the tournament longer. They've maybe been sent to the losers bracket and spent some time in the losers bracket. I know it had to be us, has played several rounds in the losers bracket so far.
Yeah, they had to go through most of this. But, I mean, Legion out almost 300 total team kills above everybody else. But they are in the losers bracket.
There. Yeah. But then you've got the team efficiency. It had to be us pretty much outclassing everybody as far as KDA efficiency or KAD. I don't know what it actually ends up being with this algorithm. But the biggest thing to note here is Radiant with a game difference of 11, which means that they have won 12 games and lost 1 game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they've only dropped 1 map. I checked. It doesn't show here with being a game difference 11. But that means that they've won 11 more games than they've lost, which is only 1 game.
See, I only asked you to explain that because, like, I knew what it meant, but I'm sure there were people that didn't because
the listeners.
You had to look it up. Exactly. Right. For your all's sake.
So, actually, if you look over there at the game difference, you've got the top 4 teams right there with 11, 10, 9, and 8 are our final 4 teams left in the tournament.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. So the first one, again, like we said, that we are going to be looking at is going to be Radiant versus Mira. And let's see if I had anything to talk about while we wait for them to show up. I think somebody was coming home from work. Oh, we're hearing we could have the current GetRekt ratings on. That might be something that would be interesting to look at, too, moving forward into... moving forward into this overall tournament. So something to note, these numbers do not count towards any of the seed scoring right now, and I think they're just so far based on the test tournament that's been played, or any other things that have been played leading up to this actual series. But looking at some of these, we can see Prototype leading the way with 3.8, and that's a 3.8 rating, not 3.8 kills.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That would actually be their rating, not 3.8 kills. So that's a little mistake on the graphic right there. But something that I took note of after I was looking at the top 5 players right here, as far as the rating that we have thus far into the tournament, which won't take place into the seeding until the tournament's actually over, the top 12 players in the GetRekt rating so far are actually on one of the 4 teams left in the tournament. And the lowest on all 4 teams is number 18 out of 100 or so players that we had in the tournament. So
everyone on these teams is doing pretty well in terms of
both
where
efficiency, KDA, or efficiency in various game types. You've got, it also takes into account the round difference that we just saw with Radiant having an 11.
Yeah, and so with that, I wonder what the next thing that we could put up is going to be. We could take a look at the game type kills as well, and this will be interesting going into our overall tournament because we're looking at how some of these players vary based on, you know, whether they're playing Supremacy or Control or Countdown or Survival, and that plays a big difference in the. Well, I guess in the way that each team plays those games, when you look at some of these things, like in Control, Legion leading the way right now. All 4 of their team members are in the top there with 134, 125, 123, and 115. And it was an interesting kind of dynamic that we've noticed, especially yesterday, where some teams would go in and they would play a game type like Control and play it dominantly, beating other teams by 30 or 40 points, or even in some cases 50 or 60 points. There might have even been a higher score differential than that, but I'm not entirely sure. And being able to take that and then going into a different game type, say Countdown, which we've heard talk about and have been listening to people talk about, and how that plays into the overall feel, because it's so different with the round-based structure of it and the objective stuff in there, and how heavily it plays off of being able to manage supers across your team very, very well. And they'll go into a game like that, and then all of a sudden it changes. Like you see there, Radiant dominates the top in when it comes to Countdown and how they're playing it.
Now, that being said, they also could have played in various sets, game sets that had more Countdown than the other teams, based off of where they were in the winner's bracket.
So maybe like an overall efficiency would be a good thing to look at.
Yes, I would love to see a team rating of overall efficiency in Just Control, in Just Supremacy, and Just Countdown, to see which team really starts to shine when it comes to a lot of these various game modes.
Yeah.
And you could see exactly who to watch out for when it comes to a certain game type.
Mm-hmm. And so that might come up. It might not. Oh, but it sounds like the players are in orbit and we're getting ready to jump into this first match. So, well, Xander, with that in mind, why don't we take a look at the maps that we're going to be playing for this one right now?
All right, sounds good. So first up in this matchup, we are going to be going over to Javelin 4 and playing Supremacy.
Yeah, so this will be Radiant versus Mira on Javelin 4. They're actually going to be going to Javelin 4 in the next map as well, playing Control. So we're going to see a good deal of Javelin.
Ah, yes. Love the old randomizer giving us two of the same map in a row.
Classic randomizer. All right, here we go. We're getting them on here. We've got a side-by-side for you with Lost from Mira on the left and Got Banned from Mira over on the right. And so I'll just wait for them to fly in. It looks like everybody is in place.
Oh, his name is Got Banned?
Oh, Saab got banned.
Saab got banned.
Yeah. Well, not yet. Not from this tournament. Not as far as we know. But looking over there, we do see kind of our lineups for everybody. Over on, on Mira, we've got Saab got banned, Mansion, Lost Boys, Deadly Hex, and then down for Radiant, we've got Prototype, Mods, Harley, and Shoot to Loot. And so we'll have to see how these two stack up against each other going into that first match, Supremacy on Javelin.
I'm getting a call that his name is Saab.
Saab?
Yeah.
Wants to go by Saab instead? Okay.
His in-game name as Saab reflected as well, but I guess he just wanted to go by Saab got banned.
Okay. Sure. we'll respect that. Well, just getting ready for them to fly in, like we said. So
here we are.
Here we are.
At the cusp of greatness.
At the cusp of the very first GetRekt Tournament Series tournament.
Game.
Game 1, match 1. Technically not. Technically, like game 13. Game 12, I think, for the winner's bracket.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we may have a
Stream thing. Yeah.
I don't think stream thing is. It looks like we have a frozen thing right here. Frozen frame at the moment. So
let me pop this over to something else as we wait for that to come back up.
Looks like our producer maybe loaded his OBS up a little too heavy.
A little too much in there. So here we can look a little bit at some of this bracket. It was filled out to some extent. Doesn't look like it goes all the way over, but the scores go all the way over. So if you are looking at that, we can kind of leave this up for a second while we get everything else set back up. That was Radiant that 3-0'd the next round against Animosity, and then we are playing that final match over on the right-hand side, which is Radiant versus Mira. Mira 3-0'd over It Had to Be Us, who was in our losers bracket final, or losers bracket semifinal, and then Legion 3-1 against Geniuses, and then got 3-2 defeated by Mira. So we should have the stream starting back up. Let's make sure that we're in there and getting everything correct.
Here we go.
All right, here we are getting into it. starting on Javelin 4. So Javelin 4 as a map, Xander, we've kind of talked about it in past tournaments and things like that as we start off. And it looks like we're going to be starting off with Prototype playing for Radiant, pushing out through Outer Ring, in through Rocket, and they're just trying to get up there and get kind of that initial positioning moving in. So they start off with 2 crests grabbed. We are playing Supremacy, so the goal of the game for anybody who is watching this and has no idea is it's a lot like
Which seems unlikely, but we may as
seems
well
unlikely.
cover it.
Yeah, so you kill an opponent, you take their crest, that gets you the points. Crest is 1 point, the kill counts for another if you get it. So like if you kill someone, your teammate gets their crest, you get 1 for the kill, they get 1 for the crest. But you can also collect everybody else's crest. So like you can claim your team's crest back and stop the other team from getting it. So it's a very upfront and kind of up close and personal game type where you have to move well as a team and you have to understand that it's almost a moving objective. If you get that kill, you need to be up in that position to pick up that crest.
Now, something I noticed when we were looking through, and since we have such extensive stats being tracked during this tournament, is I noticed that the overall efficiency for all players across the board was down than their average with other game types. Supremacy, in its nature, you have to get to where you've just killed your enemy, and that puts you kind of at risk instead of staying back and doing team shots and the like. It makes you have to get up close, like that kill right there. And so you're putting yourself at more disadvantage and more likely to lower that overall efficiency rating.
Yeah, especially if you're playing against a team that can kind of excel in these close-range encounters. And we see Prototype there. I'm confusing that with what I'm about to say with his Dust Rock out. And, I mean, we've seen him use that shotgun all weekend. And it's gone pretty well for him and the rest of Radiant. So right now, Radiant up 24-15 after the opening minute or so of play. And as Prototype goes up, we switch over to Saab, who's pushing in with one other teammate. They've got all of them coming together, gets a long-range shot there and finishes off Harley with that shotgun, pushing back around now with 1 and getting ready to move back over into Fuel. And it looks like they're splitting into a 2-2.
I think what makes Radiant such a strong team is a lot of times it's their opening. They have a very strong opening. And so against a lot of teams throughout the tournament, if you get into a situation where you're down 20-0 or something like that, you kind of get shell-shocked a little bit and have a little bit of trouble getting back into the game. And part of what makes Radiant so good at making it through a lot of the earlier rounds is the fact that they're able to shell-shock their opponents like that.
Yeah, you come out with a really, really strong initial salvo, and then the other team has to play catch-up. Yeah. So now we've got Prototype dropping that Healing Rift over in the corner on Generators, and it looks like his teammates kind of gathered around him, a little bit pushed back towards stairs, and now all of them are going to move, with Prototype being a little bit split. One goes down there, but he is able to pick that crest back up and deny the other team. And so now just trying to figure out which teammate to join up with. It looks like he had...
Oh, that's a triple down.
And going down there. So that's Prototype, who was able to take out Lost Boys, but they traded, and now we are going to wait
Sorry,
for
that
them
was
to spawn back
shoot to loot with the Spectral Blades. Dropped a quick triple down.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. But now we've got SOB with the Nova Warp. See if he's able to get anything done with it.
SOB or Sob?
Whatever.
Okay.
SSOB.
That sounds like it would be it. I'm going to say Sob until we get corrected again.
Yeah, I don't think I want to keep calling him SOB.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it got banned.
Maybe.
I don't know. But so Prototype goes down again. But right now, with 11 minutes and 10 seconds left to play, Radiant is still up 42-36. But that's a pretty thin margin, only 6 points either way. And Prototype goes down quickly to some hand cannon shots from Mansion as we're looking now over at his
Gucci
teammate.
Goo.
We've got the Tickle Fingers coming out. That's a Storm Trance cast by Lost Boys. He gets 2 to start. And I think that might be up now, and we've switched over back to Saab on Mira, who's pushing in through this inner ring, back around the corner. And they're playing their team positioning pretty well, but they've got to watch out. There is an Arc Staff that's come out, and Prototype trying to bounce. That was their own Arc Staff that came out. He got 2. That's a
team wipe
from
by
Mansion
with the Arc Staff, getting him into that small, close-range situation over in Fuel. The entire team was just bunched together.
It should also be noted that Mansion with that Arc Staff also took down Prototype, who had a Storm Trance cast right there.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're back over to Radiant, and it looks like Mods has got the Nova Warp out.
That was 3 from Mods, able to get with that Nova Warp. And a lot of those big multi-kills coming out of the supers is just generating orbs for these for your teammates. It's really important to try and get those multi-kills. We've got a Daybreak from Deadly Hex. And an Arc Staff from Harley.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of supers playing against each other, and it looks like Mira has actually been able to come back and close that gap. Deadly Hex taking out 2, getting Harley and Mods. And so Prototype now just kind of waiting by himself for the team to spawn back up, and they are down. It's 58-51 now, under 10 minutes to play, and that's Mira who have taken the lead. So Prototype now pushing up and in a ring, gets the nade out, but it looks like all of Mira over on the other side there. That nade did some damage, and it looks like there's an Axion chasing whoever he was shooting, and he gets the trade eventually on Lost Boys. It's the second that we've seen. A good nade in there from Saab, but he's able to finish it up with the shotgun, taking out Mods.
Yeah, that handheld Nova Bomb is so good for a lot of those coming around corners and just blasting as much damage as you can immediately.
Yeah, so there's Saab again taking out Shoot to Loot. A double taking out Prototype as he came around the corner. That was a quick swap to the shotgun. And so now going to try to get one across the way. Some nice team shot as Mansion finishes off Harley with the shotgun. And all of a sudden now, well, not all of a sudden, it's happened over the past minute or so, but Mira is up 10, 67-57.
And they're going to be looking to build on this lead with the Nova Warp that we've got from Saab right now. He's able to pick one off, and he's not going to want to take the Nova Warp down this long open expanse.
Yeah.
But instead his team moves in, and a great flank from Lost Boys.
That was a really good team movement play there. Lost Boys getting 2 with the shotgun as they came around the corner to essentially pinch him. And now it's time for the Nova Warp. And it looks like he's going to take it out into one of these spots. He's got a couple more corners where he should be able to hopefully avoid some people, but takes shots early. Gets the healing rifts down. Going to try to jump in and make something out of it. But right now just kind of playing cat and mouse with him, and he hasn't been able to find anybody as he waits with it charged up. Gets it out. Got a crest picked up, but wasn't able to get any kills from that. So that was good movement from Radiant to make sure that that was kind of a waste of a super other than pushing the team to another place. But they moved that pretty well.
That cat's going hungry today. And what you say cat and mouse.
Okay.
One of the things that I want to say is as soon as he was popping that Nova Warp, he started to go out in the middle, and then you saw all members of Radiant focusing their fire down onto him, and that's why in the middle of his super he had to pop the regeneration rift. Oh my god, my brain. This always happens to me. All right, but we've got another member around to the right from Mira, and it's coming down to it. 89 on Mira's side, and that's going to be Mansion with another 2 kills with that Arc Staff.
Mansion showing that he really knows how to use that Arc Staff and get it up and spinning and block the damage coming in. So there's Shoot to Loot, though, with 2 super kills. Mansion with another one with that Arc Staff. And we spawn back up with Saab on Mira, and it's only 5 points away from taking this first round in the best of 5. So there's a kill. They've got the crest created down on the far side. A couple more around the corner, and the whole team is waiting right here, trying to shoot into Rocket and get some team shots down. They get Shoot to Loot with the nade, and there's a shotgun kill from Lost Boys, trying to follow it up around the corner, but not able to do it as Mods comes around. But that's going to take us to the end of the match, and Mira with a pretty solid win in Supremacy, 102-71 over Radiant.
Yeah, really strong opening from Radiant, but Mira was able to just rally around some really amazing super use. And I want to take a look at that number. Mansion with 100% secure rate and a 1.91 efficiency. Mansion got 7 kills off of his 2 supers, and he killed 2 enemy supers with it. He killed 1 Storm Trance, and he killed what was the other Spectral Blades? That's what it was. And so he was amazing at shutting down some what could be big momentum swings in Radiant's favor and able to just keep their team ahead.
Yeah, and the way that those supers played really stacked up well against it. There are some games where we'll watch and we'll see a super kind of bounce up and start, and they just kind of run rampant through it. But in this case, there was almost always a super for a super. You saw one get popped, and then immediately another would come out to try to counter that. In this case, it went Mira's way, and they were able to use that better. And the supers that they were using there played pretty well for Supremacy, mainly because they allowed the person making that kill to get in close. Something like Arc Staff, you take the swipe, you're already right there when the crest gets created. And so because of that, you're able to just pick it up and go. So we lost. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and in a second cut back over to us as we wait for this stream to make sure that we're good over here. We just need to make sure that our side is going as well. We did have one player that went out. I think he's going to be coming back in and
likely just resetting
trading
hosts
up the host.
Yeah.
All right, so game 1 is down. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that we've got that reset and the stream ready to go again for this next match. But game 1 down, Xander, what are your thoughts? We've seen these two stack up. It looked like we might have seen Radiant come through from their kind of triumphant finish yesterday and just blast through Mira, but Mira coming out with a pretty decisive win.
Well, decisive win, and not only that, but that's Radiant's second game dropped in the entire tournament.
Yeah.
And no, obviously, disrespect to Mira, they've obviously had an amazing tournament so far as well. They eliminated 2 of the teams so far that are
in the
still remaining in the tournament in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
So obviously still amazing teams. So Mira, I mean, has played fantastically so far, and we'll see exactly how Radiant is able to come back against that, maybe with another strong opening.
Maybe, yeah.
But they've got to rally. They've got to take this time in between games to reset themselves and get refocused, because we're going right back to Javelin 4. It may feel like the same game, but it's going to be a different game type, and it's going to be a different game altogether. It's back to 0-0, and they've got to refocus.
Yeah. You know, something that should be noted, and you kind of just touched on it, is the fact that, like you said, it had to be us and Legion playing in the losers bracket semifinal right now. Both played and were defeated by Mira. Now, we had only gotten a little bit of a chance to watch Mira play yesterday, and from what we've seen in them playing the other winner here in the winners bracket final against Radiant, they are not a pushover team. They're not somebody like they had a strong run through it. So that just kind of leaves the question of how strong are those two teams in the losers bracket semifinal right now, and how much of a match are they going to be moving forward? Like we said, it had to be us. We've seen them have a really strong showing in the past, and they got wiped by Mira. I think it was a 3-0 against them.
Yeah.
And I think I watched that game, and it was strong. It was a strong showing.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
that being said, it had to be us. Yeah, they were close. I mean, they stuck with Mira throughout every one of those games, but ended up losing each one of them. So 3-0 looks a lot worse than it actually was when it came to those matchups. So,
yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here, make sure we've got stuff. We do?
And we do. All right, so we're still missing a player. It sounded like they were having some internet troubles. What is a internet tournament without internet troubles?
You'd think the world would just fix that.
You'd think,
just
man.
fix the internet.
You'd think.
Just make it work. Is that hard?
Just connect
I
all
honestly don't know.
human beings across the world
Use their brains.
instantaneously.
Yeah. See, it's easy. Look, we just figured it out. We just figured out how to fix it. All right, as we wait for them to bring in their last player, we've got some split screen on there for you to take a look at, and we will be back with you as we get ready to move into Control. Oh, and as an update, it had to be us. Are up 1-0 right now in the best of 5 for the losers bracket semifinal.
All right. That doesn't surprise me. You could have said Legion is up 1-0, and
I would have said,
all right.
Not much of a variation in your answers, is there?
Well, I mean, both teams are awesome.
Yeah.
So
both teams could win right now. I would watch either of them. I would like to see the winners, because that means that they're better.
Right.
It's how tournaments work. It's just how tournaments work. We'll be right back with you as we get ready to fly into Control on Javelin 4. Look, everybody's there. Let's get ready for Control on Javelin 4. We were just there, but it was a little while ago.
All right, game 2. You know, these PS4 loading times are getting a little ridiculous.
Seriously, Sony, you need to take a look at the fact that it might take one person up to 10 minutes to load a game. That doesn't seem efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even show up on the screen.
Yeah. There's a lot of problems here.
Anyways, we are getting ready to fly back down, just waiting on all players to get locked and loaded on their teams. As of right now, 3 versus 5 is not a fair fight, especially in Control.
Unless one of those players is actively sabotaging. Think about it.
Think about it.
I believe in you, boys. I know you can switch teams. Right as I say it, they do it.
There we go. And start. Right as I say it.
That's not. That's not how that works.
All right, here we go. And we are going to get a quick little map fly in, even though we just saw it. Same map, Javelin 4. Get ready, guys.
It's going to be like deja vu.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay, well, with that in mind, as we fly down, let's talk about the differences between Control and Supremacy.
I see why now real quick. Our producer has left our call real quick. So that's why we didn't get to go ahead to the
map.
To the map fly around. So yes, let's talk about the differences of Supremacy and Control.
Yeah.
And here we go.
It is.
Gorgeous.
Looks so pretty. The art is so great and has a major impact on the gameplay. So, Control, you know, straight up objective based. It's not a, in my opinion, I preferred in the tournament setting zone control from D1. That was probably one of my favorite game types to watch.
I really loved that game
But this is the best we can do because D2 doesn't have zone control.
Right. So,
we have control.
That being said, I think that. Oh, well, here
we
we go. I always
just boots on the ground. And we go into it.
Boots on the ground. Here we go.
So
right out the gates.
So starting off, I mean, a big point over here on Javelin 4 is this Zone B. As soon as you can get that Control 2 and make sure you're bouncing back and forth, that's pretty much all you got to do to hold it. That's Lost Boys coming up with the kill on Shoot to Loot. And Shoot to Loot from Radiant going down as we switch to Lost on Mira. Coming in with the shotgun, but was a little too far away and goes down. So now over to Saab, pushing in through the inner circle, trying to get a spot on Zone B, not able to. Goes down to Prototype, who pushes in there, and nobody has captured it yet, but Prototype with a nice little quick shotgun melee there, and it looks like they're going to be the first ones to pop up Zone B.
And we got a little masterworked shotgun right there. So dropping Orbs of Light on multi-kills, and he was able to get 2 quickly right there. Yeah. And they've gotten control of Zone B and coming out to an early lead. Like I said, Radiant very strong at these openings. That being said, they were only able to get that second zone after a minute had expired.
Yeah.
They fought very hard for both of those and just barely got that power play for a couple moments.
Yeah, so that's 1 zone down now. They are 2-1. I think they had a triple just for a second. And are up 17-5, 13:36 left to play. Prototype kind of posting up on that box, waiting to look either way and see where he's going to have to be brought out. Shoot to Loot going down over in the corner. I think he might have been by himself. And Prototype's the only one left on the team right now as 3 go out. So he's going to try to hold on as Lost charges him. And Saab actually coming in with the final kill on that as Mira groups up 3 people over on Zone B, capping it and taking that advantage now. So 19-10, 13-10 left to play.
I like what Mira did right there. Radiant was set up on A and B very well, and what they were able to do is make a line across the entire map, covering all the angles that Mira could possibly push through. But unfortunately, because they were covering all those angles, they were very spread out, and Mira, with a concerted push along that outside area, took out 2 members and was able to wrap around on top of Prototype and the other player that they had on B, and ended up taking it, but now losing it again.
That was Lost, taking out Deadly Hex, I think, on the side. Now pushing into Zone B with a shotgun on Shoot to Loot, but getting taken out by Prototype, who gets a quick double down, taking out 2. Mansion coming in on Prototype, and Saab getting another. And so people are dead all over the map. It's 21-29. Mira is down by 8, 12-15 now left to play. So Lost on Mira pushing back in over here.
Here
We've
we
got
go,
a Storm Trance.
We may see another one. Here we go.
All right, it's time to see who can tickle the best and who's got the longest fingers. Right now, we've got Lost from Mira trying to push around the corner of Rocket and get one more. We've got more lightning coming in, trying to finish it off with that blink. Ionic blinking around the corner and manages to do it, but the melee was a little too far away. But that was Lost getting one and shutting down the opponent's Storm Trance there.
Yeah,
sliding through the corner and Shoot to Loot, able to avoid that slide shotgun, taking out Mansion.
Ultimately, it looked like Mansion, or no, Lost was able to get the better end of that, getting a couple extra kills on various enemies. Now we've got Saab coming in, gets melted by 2 Not Forgottens right there in Fuel.
And that not wasted, he got 1 kill with that Nova Warp that he had active as he came through that, but still, great team shot to take out a super.
But you also have to note that it may not necessarily only be, you know, getting kill production, but also multiple kills, generating those orbs, generating orbs for your teammates, getting them back around to their next super again.
Yeah.
So in that case, he only got 1 kill, didn't make any orbs. It did end up being less productive than it possibly could have for overall team efficiency.
Yeah. We've got Harley right now with 2 Arc Staff kills coming out of that super, and Radiant is up a decent amount, 48-30. We are playing to 150 total. Radiant had been down on the map, or not map, but on zone selection, not zone selection, zone control, 1-2 for a second, but picked that back up and have done a good job overall of maintaining that. So Prototype pushing through the hole. He's got a Dawnblade in front of him and gets taken out by that fiery sword that was Deadly Hex, who's now coming into B. Gets taken out, though. I think that was by... Who ended up taking him out with that? Was that... I'm not sure. So now we're with Saab over on Zone B. He's able to capture that back, and they're going to need the 2 points that come from every kill with that zone advantage right now because they're down almost 20 points, jumping over, trying to get that shotgun, ends up trading with Harley, and Mansion's got the Arc Staff out now, gets 1 quick one on Mods, and running around trying to find somebody else.
Now, something interesting to me is the timing that is required in this game type. That you need timing to be able to gain control of the map and spend time on a zone to convert it to yours. You need timing to be controlling more zones than the other team, and be able to take advantage of that 2-to-1 zone, that 3-to-0 zone. You need good timing, and I mean, obviously, just outright slaying constantly is going to end up giving you a lot of times it's going to give you the win.
But like essentially, like if you were to say, all right, we're pushing for this triple cap, know that you're in position after the triple cap to collapse and get as many points as you possibly can out of that, I think is what you're saying, right?
Right. I mean, and there's a bit of a risk reward when it comes to triple capping because one, you want to be able to get as many kills possible when you have that triple cap. You want to be able to control the entire map to be able to maintain that triple cap. I mean, and then it's also okay to trade when it comes to that, when you're doing triple caps, because you're getting 3, they're getting 1. But you could also lose that map control, and it can quickly reverse fields on you.
Yep, exactly. So now Shoot to Loot waiting over here on glass, thinking about going back towards Fuel, not going to do it. We've got some pushing in through outer ring, a nice shade step out of the way. And we've got radar contact over to the left now. One Deadly Hex posting up on Zone B. And they do have, or Mira does have zone control right now. They've got 2-to-1 and are starting to close this gap, 61-59. Prototype trying to get that last shot down on there, but that was 2 quick kills coming out of Mira's. Prototype going to have to run away, sliding around the corner, regrouping with the rest of their team, and now deciding whether or not they hold on to this Zone A or if they move. It's tied up now, 61 even with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left to play. And Prototype now out with a Storm Trance, but a Storm Trance and a Nova Warp. Not sure if that was on
he
purpose.
can use the Chain Lightning to get both of them.
He might be able to, but he hasn't gotten it so far, and he goes down in the end, and that's both Mods and Prototype going down. But that's 2 supers at once from Mira, and you wonder if that was a miscommunication coming immediately on the popping of that Storm Trance from Prototype.
Absolutely. There are very few instances where you want to end up popping 2 supers at the same time to counter their 1. It's not going to be nearly as efficient as you think it would be.
Yeah.
Even if you end up taking down that super, the kills over time that you can get with 2 spaced out supers versus oh wow, look, they've got a power play right now, so maybe those double supers ended up giving them the control that they needed to get that power play. And right now Radiant is scrapping for whatever they can control over the map.
Now Mira's jumped up to a 20-point lead and still playing to 150. There's plenty of time left in this, 7 minutes and 10 seconds left to play here. But that was a nice turnaround for Mira after starting off so far back. And so Xander, what you were in your point, I think it's good to mention, is that trade-off for adequately spacing out your super usage for anybody going into, you know, comp matches or anything like that. Sure, you can have the like overwhelming force that comes from 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4 supers on the map at once, but at most you're going to just wipe the entire team, and then you have to wait for that team to respawn and travel over to where they're respawning. That super's not going to last all that long, so at best you get probably 4, maybe 5 kills off of 1 super, unless you maybe a Gwyson Spectral or something like that.
Right, and also to know if you're let's just do the theory craft.
Sure.
If you have 4 supers at the same time,
another triple cap.
Only 1 or 2 of those can actually end up getting any kills.
Yeah.
And so those are the only ones producing the orbs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you rotate them, then you're creating orbs that everybody's going to be able to acquire.
Yeah, and build up your supers even faster moving on to the next one. So right now, 105 to 71, Mira up almost or a little over 30 points here. We've got a Spectral Blade out on Radiant right now, but
this has
got to be back up.
This has got to be a big super for Radiant if they're going to want to get back in this game. But Mansion already with the Arc Staff taking out. Oh, and Shoots a Loot gets Mansion. That is a big super. That's what they needed to try and get back control of this map.
We've seen Mansion in the last game going off huge with that Arc Staff every time he popped it, and so the fact that he wasn't able to get anybody with that one, or he might have gotten 1 right after he popped it, I'm not entirely sure. But still, the fact that he was able to get taken out without, you know, showing how deadly he can be with that is kind of a big deal. Prototype now spawning back up, and they still are down 2-1 after that initial push where Radiant was able to get 2 of the zones. Mira wrapped that back around and is dominated the zone control over the course of the rest of the match. They've had it 2-1 for probably at least the past 3 minutes, with 2 triple caps coming in during that time as well. Mod's out now and gets 2 kills with that super, so that's going to go 2 more, helping Radiant kind of close that gap. But 115 to 80, or 81 with 5 minutes to play.
There's still a lot of time left. There's only a 24-point difference right now. 5 minutes left to play. Lots of time. This has got, it's like, it's coming down to do or die for Radiant, though. That's 2 kills quickly by Prototype, but unfortunately, 2 members of Radiant go down, so they're not going to be able to get anything off of it.
Yeah, Prototype spawning back up, and it's a sizable disadvantage, 119 to 87. About 30 points different there as Radiant pushing back through Rocket, and he's going to have to, he pushes into a 2v1 in that Zone B and gets taken down as Daybreak comes out from Deadly Hex on Mira. Lost Boys also with the kill on Prototype there that we finished up. So Deadly Hex getting 1 to start with that Daybreak popping out, and now Prototype trying to take 1 out and able to get Saab nade out over the top of the wall. We've got 1 ping on that radar, and he's going to get hit by that nade. He's a little bit damaged, but he's able to hit him with the shotgun and move back over, finishing off. And so now pushing back into Zone A, where they're about to try to cap that, because it's a triple cap yet again for Mira.
Down by 41 points, 4 minutes left to go. It is getting dire for Radiant.
Yeah, we had another Nova Warp coming out there from Mira, and Prototype just kind of waiting with the rest of the team over here to see where they can move and what they can do, because it seems like every move they've made has been stopped in some way, and they're down over 40 points now. There's the Nova Warp coming in from Saab, and I think he's about done. They're able to shoot him and finish him off with that shotgun, and another kill on Mansion from Harley, but there's so many points left to make, and now trying to approach that position on top of B where they've got, or Mira, I should say, had that rift down, and now pushing back and trying to get a zone advantage for the first time in most of the match with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left to play here.
They made this push very, very well, though. What they did was take out 2 members in their turtle, and during that time, they went right after that. They've just gone, all of them, Prototype's now on a 5-kill streak. They've stuck together. They've been able to get those team shots. They took out 2 members, and then they made their push to B. And they've now Shoot to Loot's back on that Spectral. They've got to get a triple cap to try and get back in this game.
Yeah, they're going to have to get onto that. A nice slide shotty there from Prototype, moving back around the corner, but they're going to have to get that last zone. And Mira knows it, and they are trying to protect it. Prototype coming around with a nice shotgun melee, but it kind of overextends there and gets taken out by Deadly Hex. And then Saab takes out Shoot to Loot. So Prototype spawning back up now over here as Harley gets 2 kills, it looks like, to start. And Prototype pushing back in through inner ring and just kind of bouncing over around Zone B. They're really, really attacking heavily over on Zone A or C, knowing that they're going to have to pick that up to get these points back. But it's 138 to 114. Only 12 points left for Mira to make this win.
It feels like Radiant, so far, they're very good at their 1v1s. They're very good at winning those 1v1s. Unfortunately for them, Mira is rarely in a 1v1 situation.
Yeah.
Look, right there. He was in a 2v1 getting fired by 2 members on that staircase. And Mira is just so good at sticking together and making sure that they've always got a buddy with them, that they're never caught out alone.
Yep, and it was something that I heard when I was watching Mira in their final against Legion yesterday. The call-outs can be so good coming out of them. And the way that they kind of call people out and say, you know, he's up here, and then responding to those call-outs where you say somebody's up here and you immediately have somebody over there in a position to make that play and to help you out. Prototype out with the Storm Trance, trying to finish this off, but he's getting juked like crazy. Eventually gets the final kill on Mansion there as Harley takes out Deadly Hex. Prototype going to have to be careful coming around that corner with the nade out, and that's going to be the end, 150 to 125.
I'm going to have to go back and watch, like, if Mansion has a VOD or something. I can't wrap my brain around how he was able to slip around that like small area with electricity and a super and everything. Even if it starts getting, he starts getting shocked a little bit, it kind of just, you know, attracts to him for the rest of the super.
So that's a very interesting overall stat line there.
Talk me through it.
The eliminations weren't all that different looking between the two of them. So the eliminations over there weren't all that different when you're looking at how they stacked up. The main thing that was different there was the fact that the zone control throughout the map was so strong. And so...
Well, what do you mean? So I actually missed it.
Okay, yeah. So,
did Mira have more captures overall?
Yes. So basically, overall, the way that it looked over there was that the kills were pretty consistent with everybody kind of in the 20s, maybe 1 or 2 standout players on either side that were up at around 30. But, I mean, you saw how much stronger points-wise Mira finished off over Radiant. Yeah. And that's just because, I mean, just watching the match, I didn't catch the line in the actual stats, but watching the match, they had either a 2-to-1 or a triple cap for a majority of that match, and they were able to stack those points, kind of like we were talking about with once you get that advantage, you have to hold it and you have to keep pushing it forward.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Radiant backs against the wall in the winner's bracket final here. If they lose, they go to the loser's bracket. They're not out of the tournament, but they will have a much harder hill to climb than if they were to win this game. Mira 1 game away from the grand finals. If they can seal 3 in a row, then they will be just waiting atop that Tippy Mountain.
Tippy Mountain.
Tippy Mountain.
That's what they
just
call
waiting for whoever ends up making it out of the loser's bracket. So far, I'm amazed to see how Mira has been able to rally at towards the middle and end of each game so far. Radiant with an amazingly strong opening, jumping out to a great lead. And then both times Mira just slowly, like a python, just getting a little bit of map control.
Yeah, give me the simile.
And getting a little bit of map control and then just squeezing and squeezing, and Radiant just not really getting any room to breathe.
Yeah, and it's something that we saw kind of overall as these teams get ready. We have to restart the stream real quick, and we'll be getting into this in just a second. But something that we saw going in was, like, I think the issue that Radiant had was that, like you said, they were great when they were one-on-one and individual sliding, but they just had kind of a breakdown. Mira came back, shocked them a little bit, and they just weren't able to regroup and get together and make the team shots that they needed to. So here we are now. It's do or die.
Hopping right back in.
It's all up to you now. Destroy them. Excellent. But the charge is ticking.
And we are playing Countdown on Pacifica. Starting off with Prototype, and that's the first round. Countdown, again, this is the first time that we're seeing it in this broadcast today, but the way that you plan and play your supers it is so important in this game type. Countdown, again, for those of you, and I'm sure there are very few who don't know how the game is played, is essentially teams going on and off attack or defense, depending. It's a round-based game. You run in, and if you're the team that's attacking, you have to set the charge over here. Right now you see that Mira is on defense and has to defuse this.
Oh, look at this. He's going for the ninja defuse. It's not so much ninja. Oh, he might be.
To.
Oh,
did
he
get
it? He defused the charge. Oh, my goodness. You see every single time Radiant, if they're on offense, they're going to try and set those very early. And look at that, without even hesitating, while the rest of everything is chaotic around him, his entire team is dying, even he died, he was able to get that defuse. Amazing play.
Yeah, and so that's going to make it 1-1, and we are playing to a total of 6, first team to 6 here. And so now with Prototype starting off, getting ready to kind of make that approach. And we see that they've got to defend him. They're waiting to see where Mira's going to set. And it looks like we've got the charge set over here up top in the bay. And we've got some team members going down. That's one down already for Mira. Prototype trying to take this 1v1 here, and Mansion goes down to the melee from Mods. And it shouldn't be too hard to do this. The Lost Boys comes in and is able to take out one. That being said, Mods should be able to get in here and get that defuse.
Yep. Wow. What a gamble Lost Boys was able to have with that defuse. That was a I love the cojones.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, seeing this and seeing the teams try to go for the defuse almost as soon as the charge gets set. You saw Prototype waiting there while he watched it get set so that they could then push in and start doing it, because they're trying you want to limit the length of these matches as much as possible. You want to make sure that the other team isn't building up super through kills like that as Saab takes out Harvey, and it's Lost now pushing in through the Orange Bay, and you can hear the charge starting to get set. It has been set up top, and that seems to be the favorite spot.
Yep, they're changing the fields right there, though. Their teams met outside, trying to change it up a little bit, but then Prototype ends up
trying to go for the little loop-de-doop there. And he's able to take out Rope-a-dope. Would that be better? He takes out one, and Saab is now the last one on Mira over here trying to defend this charge.
Oh,
he's diffusing
it.
Oh, he's diffusing. Couldn't see that there, yeah.
Wow,
and he's able to get the defuse.
The 1v1. And Mira coming out really strong with some of those active. A lot of times you get the diffuses while while enemy team is all dead. You kind of want to kill them and then go for the diffuse. But these guys have been setting the standard for what diffusing should look like, and it's basically just like
play it as an objective.
Yeah,
you have to play it rather than as an afterthought.
That being said, you kind of start to think, is setting the bomb that early a good idea? I mean, I kind of talked about it a little earlier in that there's very low risk in it before the supers start happening. But
now we see the other side of that, because the games that we had been watching throughout yesterday and kind of in the past would show you that, okay, you can set it kind of whenever, and if you set it early, you're going to have that advantage, because if your whole team gets wiped, then the team's going to go for the defuse. But here we're seeing these active defusings where the teams are playing for it immediately and playing around that rather than playing to elimination and then pushing. But we've got 3 supers on the side of Radiant now as we push in, and Radiant is actually up 3-2, I think.
I've been saying diffuse a lot.
I know.
It's
not a word I normally say.
Differently. Diffuse.
Diffusing. So 3-2 right now. 3-2 right now as we start off with Prototype on Radiant, and they're pushing up. They're going to set that as, again, soon in there. That Spectral Blade's coming in from a shoot to loot on Radiant. He's going to push around and try to make sure that they get a couple wipes there. Looks like he got 1 kill to start as we're over on Saab now from Mira. He's going to take that nade out and not actually tag anybody with it from what I saw. He one up there. He's able to kind of bait him off that ledge. Did he take him down? No, somebody did, though. He had a teammate behind him trying to finish that off.
All right, and that's all members of Radiant down. Mira defusing the bomb, and we are going to be
3-3.
3-3, folks. These are tight games. And it's
Pretty
kind
tight.
of resets the tempo of every single time when you have to go to a new round. So teams is evenly matched at this. Oftentimes, the tempo or the momentum is dictated by supers.
Yeah. Well, and interesting to note on the end game screen right there that we just saw, Mira tied right now 3-3, but they have much lower overall efficiency because they're not playing kills. They're playing they're playing the objective.
Yeah.
Which showing right now, Radiant has 3 supers available. That was prototype, or that was lost. Sorry, with 1, and he got 1 kill to start with it. And only 2 supers that are available for Mira. They might have 1 going into the next round, but it kind of shows that they haven't been slaying out as much as they lost goes to set now.
Yeah, and that kind of winds up being the difference when it comes to playing objective versus playing for kills. They've been going for the defuse and not getting the kills, but that being said, so that they're not going to get their supers first.
Yeah.
But they're even in rounds. That may come back to bite them, though, when it comes to all of Radiant having their supers. And there you go. You've got Mira taking the lead 4-3.
I think Saab's starting to heat up a little bit, or at least feeling like it. You see some of those excitement shots coming off and finishing off with that kill there. So now we've got Saab starting off on this next round. They're up. They only need to get 2 more round wins, and they've got 2 supers to use to 1 super to use over on Radiant. So we've got the ping over on the far side of that map. Saab bouncing back around to the blue bay, and we heard that Daybreak get cast. That was one of their supers from Mira. Daybreak is out, but hasn't gotten anything yet. Saab kind of ships passing in the night, just walked past somebody. Deadly Hex, though, able to get 2 eventually with that Daybreak pushing around the corner. It is 1v1, but that super is still out, trying to get some of that flame down on the ground. And I think that set should be good to go here.
I can't
think
tell
they're gonna be able
who's
to defuse
left
it.
alive on Radiant's side.
Oh, now Deadly Hex has to go for that
So
play. and
all
get
he has
the
to do is
defusal.
stall. He's got to stall right here.
Oh, and he gets taken down, not able to defuse that. And so now 4-4. This is pretty close. You could say that it's tied. It's so close.
But look at that. Oh, shoot to loot down at 2 eliminations at the moment.
Well, let's just highlight bad performance. Thank you for that.
I didn't mean to point it out like in a bad way.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I'm just looking at anomalies within the team, and that's what I saw.
That's Prototype coming out with the Storm Trance, pushing around that top red bay charge and trying to just play for eliminations on that, getting pushed around the corner, blinking away from some damage and danger as he's got somebody chasing him, and they eventually get him down.
Surprise, it's a Nova Warp.
Hello. And so now we get the nade. Oh, and he gets him with the nade. That's Saab, and that's all players eliminated. That's Mira going to take it up now 5-4.
And
one more to play.
We said Saab was heating up a little bit.
Yeah.
He's not topping his team, but he's got a really high efficiency, and
he's making the plays that matter right now.
He's making the plays that matter.
Yeah.
And right now, they've got an arc staff going into what could potentially be the final round.
And that's Mansion, I think, with the
in
arc
the winners
staff,
bracket finals.
Up. And Mansion, we know, is super deadly with that. And you think that you have to think that they saved that for this round. Saab waiting over here
and
in
there it
his
goes.
space. Yep, that's the arc staff out from Mansion. Mansion takes out Shoot to Loot first of all. Still pushing around, hasn't gone down yet. And now pushing back inside. Mansion takes out another with the hand cannon shot.
3v2 in favor of Radiant. Now there are no revives. It is 2-2 at the moment. 5-4.
Now just waiting for any sites. You can tell that this is being played a little bit more cautiously than the last one had, especially now that that super is down. And there's Prototype setting the charge up top. And so now it's going to be a 2-2 or 2v2, but Mira has to play with that charge in mind. You can tell Prototype setting up there to make something happen with it, but he gets taken out by a shotgun shot to the head. And so now it should be a 2v1.
Can he stall?
Trying to get that charge defused and, well, still taking shots from the side.
And
able
that
to do it.
Is it. That is your winner's bracket. Finals done.
That is it. Mira 3-0 over Radiant, who had come in roaring off of a very strong bracket performance. At the same time, looking over at the scores that are being brought to us from the other match, last update here is it had to be us. It's 2-1 right now over Legion.
All right. Did I say that last time?
What?
All right.
Yeah. That's exactly what you said.
All right, well, there you have it. Okay, we're going to go over to an advertisement real quick, and then we'll be right back.
And I think we might be back with a special guest in just a second.
All right.
Let's see if we can get that set up. All right, everybody. Here's me and Xander again, and we are getting ready for our interview. We've got a very special friend on the line.
I wouldn't even call it an interview. He's
just
a
like a
friend,
chat.
and we're just having him on to
Yeah.
talk about Destiny competitive tournaments.
So here he is. This is FalloutPlays, our good friend.
Hey, everybody. How's it
We're calling
going?
you our good friend, whether you want us to or not.
I wrote specifically in my contract, I did not want you to refer to me as your friend anymore. I thought we talked about this.
Yeah, I ignored that part. We don't need to see that.
Well, great. Now we won't have him ever back on again.
Yeah, he's done forever.
Good, thank God. Well, thanks for having me on, boys. Good matches today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been outside of the technical issues. You know, it's been going well, and we've been seeing a lot of stuff. So for the people who are watching, who for some reason might not know who you were, but are still watching a Destiny 2 tournament, why don't you go ahead and just give a little bit of a background about yourself, what you do, and kind of your whole thing.
Fair enough. My name is Fallout. I'm a YouTuber and a streamer. I do a lot of Destiny 2 content. I do weapon breakdowns and subclass breakdowns. I like to make videos on everything kind of all-encompassing PvP, how to improve, get your brain around the game and just play the game a little bit better than maybe you do today.
Awesome. Well, we've got some players in these tournaments that are probably taking a lot of that to heart, playing at kind of the highest level that they can. So one of the first things that we wanted to talk about, I think, is let's jump into kind of some of your thoughts on the differences between the way we play competitive right now, which has a set rule set, some stuff is banned, and the way that most players would normally play. So here in the comp scene, essentially, we play with certain bans. What are your feelings on the best way to, say, optimize your loadout if you can only use like 2 mods instead of being able to trick out everything in your armor with a super mod or something?
Because that might be
that's a great question, because it's funny if you're looking from the outside in, watching comp being played, and you're only used to playing matchmaking. It's like a different world. You know what I mean? It's almost an entirely different game altogether. Because if you go into matchmaking, you can abuse whatever you want. You can run 5 super mods, which is crazy. You can put on armor, which would be absolutely banned in the competitive scene. So when you go into a competitive tournament mindset, you have to go over every single rule, and you have to get together with your teammates, and you have to go, okay, this is what they're not allowing, obviously. Now, how are we going to build our team around what we think we can do the best to take advantage of what they are allowing us to use?
Mm-hmm. So when you're doing that, and so something to note too is when we're doing these competitive matches, duplicate subclasses are excluded. So if you were to, say, put together like a hypothetical comp team or something like that, what subclasses do you think would mesh the best together in terms of how they attack, how they defend, how they play certain game types?
I think you want a good mixture of powerful roaming supers is kind of right off the bat. And that showed in the matches we just watched with Radiant versus Mira, because look at all the big supers that were making the big plays. We had Stormcaller, a lot of big Stormcallers leading to a lot of great, recapturing the map and control. You have the Spectral Blade in there. You have Nova Warp in there. I think that Dawnblade is a good choice. Maybe not as immediately powerful as Nova Warp is in the current meta until they patch it on Tuesday. But having the roaming supers picked right up front is a fantastic idea, because every time you do well with a roaming super and you get that clutch team wipe, you're going to be able to redefine how your team is controlling the map in the game. I think that's your first pick. Your first go-to is how can we best abuse the roaming supers, and then you kind of fill in the gaps from there.
Yeah, strange enough, we didn't see any blade barrages with these 2 last teams, which would have been a great shutdown for any one of the roaming supers. That being said, all of these roaming supers have a lot of mobility, and there's a lot of risk in just going for a one-off shutdown super and trying to just hit the roaming super where it could teleport, ionic blink, or do one of the hunter dodges or anything like that.
Look, there is no worse feeling in a competitive game than when you are the team's designated counter super. Like if you had someone picked on the team that's like, okay, you're running Blade Barrage right now. Now when they pop that Storm Trance, you got to back up, you got to bait it out, and you got to hit them with the blade. The cards don't always fall into place the way you want them to. They could be popping Stormcaller on the other end of the map. You know what I mean? They could, and if you know that you're running Blade Barrage, the enemy team, they're not stupid. We're at the top level of tournament play. They know what you're trying to pull off. So they were going to wait. The roaming super has that benefit. A lot of the roaming supers out there, the duration is very long. And the duration is being extended in the Tuesday sandbox patch. So you have that luxury. You have the luxury to wait around the corner, to tease out the bait of the Blade Barrage. So while it can work very well, a counter super, I think it's much easier. It's a much safer bet to go in with a strong number of good roaming supers.
What's your favorite roaming super?
Right now, probably Spectral Blade because it's broken.
Wall hacks.
Yeah, when I'm going into comp trying to carry people on Twitch to get their Luna or whatever, I just want to have the odds as much in my favor as possible, which is why I run Spectral Blade, because it's cheesy. It's maximum cheesy. You can run around absolutely forever. Thank God in this tournament you guys have your heads on straight, and we're banning the how is it pronounced? The Gwisen, the Gwisen, the cheese invest that lets your run around for like 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I think when Tuesday comes around, I'll probably go back to Dawnblade for a while.
Yeah. So we do have this this kind of rebalance coming out on Tuesday. What kind of in that are you looking forward to the most? What do you think might be a little bit different than people are thinking it would be? Like anything you see as a kind of a surprise where people are saying, oh, this is going to totally change stuff this way, and you think it might, well, maybe.
I don't know if it's going to totally drastically change everything that we know. I mean, I know they're changing a lot of weapons. I'm kind of fingers crossed that they're not going to make auto rifles too powerful. I know that auto rifles, quote, need love in the way that Bungie wants them to be used more, but I think that we might be able to agree from a competitive standpoint, it's more challenging, it's more rewarding for comp players to do well with a precision weapon like a hand cannon. You know what I mean? You don't want to just hold the trigger down and spray and be rewarded.
I think that we should go back to Doctrine of Passage.
Oh, God.
Just bullet hose for days. And that was one of my first favorite plays that I ever did was in Rumble or something like that. And I had just gotten a Doctrine, and I was on Hunter back before they nerfed Shade Step, and you could just do it as much as you wanted essentially. And just was dancing around people and melting. I don't know if that's really what we want, Xander. If I can do that, imagine what somebody else
the top tier commentary that you guys would bring to the table. Wow, he's holding down the trigger. He's spamming a lot lot of bullets. Okay, and he wins that engagement. All right, well, he's spamming the trigger again. Amazing, fantastic.
Oh, he's got more bullets.
More ammo.
Oh my God, this seems kind of not fun to watch. Yeah, no, I don't know if we necessarily want to go back to even the early D1 days, at the beginning when it was okay. Well, everybody's got a Suros, and
well, I wish that somebody would bring out the sweet business in these tournaments so that they could lose, so they could lay down 100 bullets in one session or one go of it. Really lock down that corridor.
Yeah. No, this is not a laning game, but in this case, it entirely is. Nobody can use this one. All right, so we're waiting on one player right now, and then we'll be almost ready to go back up. So here's a question that I had for you, as we'll just kind of keep you on and use you as filler.
Yeah, why not?
Fill out plays. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
You can change that next. So a question that I had is regarding mods specifically. We kind of touched on them at the beginning. And I know you've done some videos on kind of mod optimization and stuff like that. So here, like we said, you can only have 2 of any one mod. And yesterday we had a couple matches where they had some players accidentally had 3 mods on of one thing instead. What's the tangible difference? Let's say I'm running I'm supposed to be running 2 mobility mods, and instead I'm running 3, or 2 super mods, and instead I'm running 3. How does that affect play, and what does that do?
Look, that's going to affect play Probably more than you think, especially with the super mods. The super mods are, in my opinion, probably the most powerful mod that you can bring into PvP. Now, it continually stacks, you know what I mean, all the way up to 5. I don't know what the plan was there. No shade at Bungie, but it keeps going up and up. So even if you have 3 super mods instead of 2, that means that you're probably going to be getting your super, if you're playing decently, probably faster than anybody else on your team, anybody else on the other team, depending on your performance. Now, if you get that first super and you have a devastating roaming super, especially in a game type like Countdown, like we just saw, it's so powerful. You can literally change the tide of the match with one well-popped super. And if you have it popped first, you're doing so many things at the same time. You're getting the kills right away. You're popping your super with no contention from the other team because they don't have a super yet charged to counter you. You know, like we saw in that one match, there were 2 popped supers. The Storm versus Storm. We had a couple of Storm versus Storm fights going on there. They have nothing to pop to challenge you. So you're getting the kills, you're going unopposed, and on top of that, you're producing orbs of light for your teammates to pick up to create the snowball effect. And that's something that we've been seeing in these games a lot. Like, take a look at the matches that we just saw when they were doing control on Javelin 4. They were going back and forth. It was kind of like almost a deadlock. And then Mira pops their super. They do really good. They get that team wipe. They are able to gain control again. And then it jumps to a 10-point lead, to a 20, to a 30-point lead. So it might not seem like a lot on paper, but having the third mod could really kick off that snowball effect. And that could give a team a very unfair advantage if they're not paying attention to the loadout of the enemy team being like, oh, that guy's using a third illegal mod, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good point, too, because I know some of the things that I saw in some of the chats and stuff when we were watching some stuff yesterday with some of these like things being contested and stuff where there's like, oh, they're using 3. And people would say, yeah, but you guys were down by 30 and you probably weren't going to win anyway. And which, I mean, people say
that's Twitch chat for you.
Yeah, exactly.
We love
you
Twitch
guys
chat.
are just crying about nothing. Yeah, it's the best. But and that's the sort of situation where that can come and you can say, okay, sure, it may seem like, you know, it just had this, but that let them get that super a little bit earlier, completely turn the tides, and that's when they started steamrolling because their whole team started racking up more orbs earlier and got those supers out a little bit sooner. So
it could make a difference with other things too. You know what I mean? I mean, take a look at the Void Warlock, the Nova Warp, and you have the ability to do that handheld supernova. We were watching a lot of really well-timed handheld supernovas, and it's an ability that you don't really need to aim very much. It's very powerful. If you know that there's an enemy that you're going to approach them from around a corner, you can charge and then spam. And even if you don't get the kill, you can follow up with an easy Dust Rock Blues kill. You know what I mean? And if you have that extra mod, I mean, like any mod that you really crank up, it doesn't seem like a lot on paper, but any extra edge. Again, these are all players at the tournament level. They are just thirsty for trying to get one little bit of a leg up on the other team. And as soon as you get that leg up, you weasel your way in there, and you can just change the battle, and you can win the game. So that's why we have these rules in place. And going with a loadout that kind of breaks the rules in a little bit can make a big difference.
Awesome. Well, so it looks like, and let me see if I can pull this up, but I think that we've got our teams up and ready to go now in this next one. And so we're going to go ahead and jump back over to our gameplay stream. So Fallout, thanks for joining us now. We'll probably jump back in with you at least one more time later in the match. There's always time to fill. And you bring some good conversation to it. So
that's all we need you.
Bring me in when you need me,
You're here to
boys.
help us. Yeah. All right. We'll switch back over, and we will talk to you again later. Thank you so much. Well, we've got the sound in. Just waiting on the video. We'll reset this one more time. It seems they have started playing.
Looks like our interview went a little over, but we will get back into this action as soon as we can.
This is what the people want to hear.
I can't wait to see who made it out of the losers bracket semifinals, because
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure.
It Had to Be Us made it out of the losers bracket semifinals.
I'm just getting word It Had to Be Us will go on to face Radiant. And here we are, folks. Game 1 of the losers bracket finals. This is still a best of 5. The winner of this goes on to face Mira in the grand finals. This is for all the bacon here.
Well, almost.
Whoever loses here gets
it's out
eliminated.
forever. That's what you meant, and that makes sense.
Out
and I
forever.
cut
They
you
don't
off
get to
before.
play any more tournaments.
Yeah, it's a very high-stakes tournament.
That's not true.
So we've
No,
got
not the very high stakes tournament.
that they never get to play anymore.
Yeah.
Xander, people knew what you meant.
Just clarifying.
Probably. So we've got Prototype over here. It's a very close game to start. It's, well, 20 to 21. And, yeah, we're playing Supremacy right now on what are they?
Burnout.
Burnout is what they changed it to. Sorry, I can never get the old names out of my mind.
Bernie Shriney.
Yeah. And so now we've got Sairyu over on It Had to Be Us, who we saw in the last tournament as well, and pushing in over across the bridge, and some Spanish up on the screen. And moving in now over the tumbler into the center here. One jumping over. It's a bit of a mess over there in the center, but able to take that as iWrathful also takes out Prototype with the hand cannon. So now Saya moving over to the side, waiting for somebody to come out onto the bridge, but he's going to actually instead have some pings over across the tumbler. And it looks like Radiant sticking together pretty well at the moment. As we swap back over to Prototype, they've got themselves kind of stuck over here on that well, and shoutcasted able to finish that kill on Sairyu, and Prototype going in to collect that crest, taking the 1-point advantage, 30 to 29, with 12:15 left to play.
I can't believe that Radiant had 2 angles come from both Big B door and from over on West Tumbler that they weren't able to actually get any kills for about 30 seconds. Either way, despite having It Had to Be Us completely surrounded, it just goes to show you the fire that they were able to deter Radiant with from collapsing and closing in.
I'll say that was a nice little position there, and we had Wrathful kind of charging in on, I think, Prototype. No, I think he charged in on shoutcasted, who was up here on this bridge spot, and just kind of jumped in there from the back, even though he had a tell me what it is.
Yes, position.
That's not what I was looking for. Okay, no, he had no.
The high ground.
Okay.
Anakin.
I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it. Prototype pushing over across the bridge.
I don't know what you want, man.
Prototype pushing over across the bridge and now staying on the bridge. We've got 1 contact across the far side and make that 2 contacts over to the left, pushing back over into West Tumbler. And 2 members of Radiant are down right now, so Prototype just kind of trying to hold position. There's 1 coming in that super close encounter space. 1 more coming over the bridge, trying to get in there, but they backed off a little bit, trying to bait him around that corner. And Nova Warp now coming out from mods.
Prototype loves this bridge. He's able to control it really, really well. I think he likes the cubby nature of it, in that he's got 2 openings. He can lay down fire for his entire team from that advantageous high ground up there, control that entire middle inner area, and also he's got a quick shotgun trigger. Oh, and look, he dodges right by him, and shoutcasted able to take out Lost Ninja. Unfortunately, Wrathful with the handheld supernova in the sky.
Yeah, so now Prototype waiting to spawn back up as we switch to Sairyu from It Had to Be Us. They are down by 3 right now with 10:20 left to play, and look at all those supers lighting up the board. You see that check on the ghost, check all your supers. And so coming out with the Daybreak here, trying to throw this around, gets 1 but gets taken out quickly by Prototype with the melee. And so that kind of negated any use that could have come out of that.
shoutcasted uses lame spet trail.
Thank you for that. Sairyu pushing back around this corner and waiting for somebody to come over. You can see that was Spectral Blades. And Spectral Blades taking out, or that's shoutcasted Spectral taking out Wrathful over on the far side. And so now a Storm Trance coming out from Prototype, and he's going to challenge Sairyu across that. Takes out 1 to start as we switch back over to him. And shoutcasted was able to get that crest, give him those points, and they're starting to pull ahead by almost 10. Prototype pushing Wrathful over in the corner and able to get him and collect that crest as well. 66 to 56 with 9 minutes and 23 seconds to play here in this first match. Sairyu now back over in center, where I think we've seen him for quite a bit of this. Got to dodge some of that grenade, moving back over into the east tumbler and moving back down with one teammate. They are a little bit spread out on that east side right now as we've got one across the bridge and taking some shots there, but there's a switch. It's a 2v1 all of a sudden. He was able to take out one to start, had one pushing him on top, and he wasn't able to take out the next, but it looks like either Lost Ninja or Wrathful was able to back him up with that. And so now pushing in to pick up all of these crests. That was a nice little team positioning move. Cyryu pushed in through that bridge, and then two more members of It Had to Be Us wrapping around through the west tumbler.
I'm loving all of this Spanish that we have on the screen because the storm trance was Trans de la Tempest. You know, it's a fun little...
Your accent is impeccable.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying it just basically how I'm phonetically reading it.
Nice.
It's really bad. I don't speak Spanish. So.
No, nobody would have thought that.
All right, still up by 10 points. Radiant, we still need to get that scoreboard up top changed real quick, but that will be It Had to Be Us against Radiant, and Radiant up
oh, yeah,
by
it says Mira right now.
About 12 points at the moment.
8 minutes left to play here, but we're still closing in pretty quickly on that 100-point mark. Wrathful jumping up onto the east tumbler, gets taken down by, no, actually didn't get taken down, dropped down himself. A little bit of a punchy fight over, that's what they call that, right? A punchy fight in the middle over there, and now Prototype waiting to spawn back up, spawning back up in the east yard outside and trying to push in, join the rest of their team where they have taken a position here on what normally would be Zone B in control. Pushing now around with the team to the west tumbler and west yard, shooting into west tumbler, sorry. And now pushing back in. As one goes down, Prototype makes the decision to keep moving forward just a little bit, but there are a lot of people over on the other side. He's got one coming down. Almost got that out in time to save his health, but wasn't able to do it.
Wow, just like that 5-point game. I was just about to say Radiant doing an amazing job maintaining that lead, but just as I say it, It Had to Be Us pushing back and within 2 points, about to tie it up and take the lead. 2-point lead for It Had to Be Us at the moment that matters the most, at the very end of the game. Radiant having such a difficult time this tournament so far, trying to close out these games.
Here we've got the Nova Warp coming down. They tried to take him out. That was Cyryu kind of 1v1ing him with a little bit of extra team shot, but the Nova Warp got him with the start, and then Wrathful taking out Prototype. Cyryu spawning back up. It's 91 to 87. They've got a 4-point differential with 6 minutes and 33 seconds left to play, but I don't think that's going to matter. Cyryu trying to get some long-range shotgun shots across the center and able to get that kill going back over into the center. And now just a couple more crests to pick up there and trying to finish it off with that Daybreak. Going to get that crest, and that's going to tip them over the top.
Wow.
It Had to Be Us. All right.
It looked like for a second that Radiant was going to be able to rally at the very last moment, despite It Had to Be Us pulling within, well, gaining the lead by about 2 or 3. Radiant made a little bit of push again there, and then, wow, It Had to Be Us absolutely closing it out.
I think that's actually Italian.
Oh, Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Wow.
That's why it sounded like terrible Spanish for me. Yeah, that's the accent problem, was that you thought you were speaking Spanish.
Oh, man. There's a lot of languages in the EU.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right, so as we get ready to line up this next match,
Gonna pop on over to us real quick
to handle some back-end stuff. So let's talk about what we just saw there. That was...
Let's make sure our mics are turned on, because I just want to...
Yeah, we're on. See?
Great.
It's over the top
Great.
there. It's
you
making
know,
sounds.
you just got to double check, because otherwise we'd be talking here.
We've never had an issue with not turning mics on.
Never. Never before.
Never
Anyways,
before.
I want to talk real quick. This has been such a tough championship Sunday for Radiant so far. They, before today, dropped 1 game out of the 12 that they'd played. Today, they've lost 4 in a row and haven't been able to secure.
When you put it that way, that sounds terrible.
It does. They've had a really bad championship Sunday so far. And it's kind of probably getting in their heads a little bit after going down 0-3 in the winners bracket finals for the chance to go to the grand finals with that quick free pass right there instead of having to go back through the losers bracket. Now they've got to fight It Had to Be Us, and this is no slouch. This is the losers bracket finalists right here. And they fought through the losers bracket for probably 3 or 4 rounds and just came off of a win against that other team
Huh?
that they
Mira?
played. No, the
Legion?
in the Legion.
It had to be us over
Legion.
Yeah.
And Legion's an amazing team as well. So, that being said, Radiant needs to take a little bit of time here, reset, because they've had really strong openings.
Yeah.
They've had the lead in every single one of these games by a large margin, but isn't able to maintain it
Yeah.
near the end of the game. Their strategy or their whatever, in each game it seems like they're playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yeah.
And that in turn gives their opponent an opening, and their opponent so far has taken advantage of that opening 4 times in a row.
Yeah. And it looks like we've got let me pull that in, and I think we have flown in. At least it sounds like we have.
Nice.
Okay. We'll try this one more time.
They're pushing back patio on B.
Oh, and we've got our first game audio. or chat audio coming in here. All right, let's try to swap this over. There we go. Now we've got this back up. And so we have flown into our next match, which is pulling from this Control on
Protoss one shot.
Solitude. This is match number 2.
Outside on Melt.
And this is one of those maps where if you try and lock down B, it's oftentimes very easy to lose control of either A or C. It's very easy for a team to wrap around the outside of the map and get behind you, so you have to be fairly spread out,
nice
which is
play
tough.
there from Cyreu, a double down.
It's tough in these situations. And Radiant, for the first time I think we've seen, going down early in a match. Let's see if they can flip it on its head and come back and do what's been done to them so far.
And you know, Xander, you raised an interesting point, and it was something that we also saw with some other teams yesterday, where all of a sudden, if you start going on, you know, a little bit of a losing run, especially in some of these matches that have been so close in different ways, you have to play in a way that makes sure that that tilt doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
And because I mean, everybody's been there in the middle of a losing series, and you start getting tilted, you start snapping at teammates, telling them to do stuff, and it's their fault and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure Fallout has. I mean,
yeah, yeah, exactly. He's probably the most toxic player in the world. No, that would be Sports Psych Steve. Just call him out on that right now.
It's okay. We know him too.
Let's throw everybody under the bus.
Except for ourselves. I've been toxic, okay? How about that? Yes, we've both been toxic.
I just quit playing when I get too toxic.
Unfortunately, in a tournament situation, you don't have that option.
Yeah. So Prototype now over here in the middle, and they're trying to come back. It's 34-17. They're down by, well, about double their points that they need to get back. And Prototype going down. That's Wrathful and Say We Ain't both with kills right there as we switch back to Wrathful from It Had to Be Us.
Wow,
trying
I
to get those shots. Missed the very last one on that, but it was wrapped up by Mods over on the, or by, sorry, Cyreu over on the far side.
Yeah, they don't want this flag anymore.
Wrathful back inside the facility and calls out that super coming out. He's got the Nova Warp and one chasing him, trying to get around here now. There are a couple tough corners, even though it's a big map. Say We Ain't, I think, actually finished up that kill with the hand cannon, which is actually going to end up not giving any of the orbs out to the team. So now Wrathful waiting with that Nova Warp inside to kind of deter anybody from Radiant over inside Zone B.
Luckily, he was able to make a small orb with the masterworked weapon there because he got the multi-kill.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be anywhere near what would have been created from the super.
Oh, GGK's one-shot back patio.
There you go. You have shotgun versus shotgun in the call-out. You've got Mods coming into Zone B, who was one-shot there as not Wrathful, sorry, that's Cyreu. Casts Daybreak.
Ooh, and we've got a Storm Trance from the same team. Maybe a little miscommunication there. It Had to Be Us going to be controlling this map very strongly for the next 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, that was Cyreu, I think, with 2 coming in there, and Lost Ninja getting 1 on Harley with that Storm Trance. And so now Cyreu pushing back in through the inside, looking back over towards the generators area and out from Zone B. And he's got 1 in there. That was Shoot to Loot. Shoot to Loot takes him down, though, with the hand cannon. And there is a super coming out. Say We Ain't with the Spectral Blades. Gets 1 right off the bat. Gets 2. Taking out both Prototype and Harley. So now oh, okay, we're a little bit behind. So now here's Shoot to Loot with the Spectral Blades. And pushing through, we see 1 in here, going to try to chase back over into caves. Gets 1, takes out Cyreu.
So close to dying.
And gets taken down eventually. See, without that license vest.
Oh, they're in the back. Okay.
Back
Yo, they're all over B.
Who knows?
They're around B, One's on.
All
Yeah,
right,
we'll just
well
take our
now
time.
what we're going to be taking a look at real quick is Radiant has 3 different supers available for this potential comeback. If they want to make it happen, they've got to string them together perfectly.
Yeah, and we've seen them do well with these, so they're just going to have to, buckle down, make sure they're playing it right. Especially now, Radiant does have a power play.
And that's
so
a
now
power
would be
play.
the
This
time.
is the time, baby. Let's go.
Now would be the time for them to break out these supers, and we've got Shoot to Loot over here on the platform trying to shoot out and just waiting for one of these supers to get popped, essentially. Looks like there's one prototype out with his Storm Trance pushing around the corner of Zone B. He's going to have some contacts on the outside that might be pushing around this outside corner. It doesn't look like it from the porch, and Shoot to Loot just trying to maintain that area on the
They
zone.
pop, we back up.
67 to 37, that is a
we have a cushion of
30-point
lead here.
advantage right now for It Had to Be Us. And Shoot to Loot going down to Wrathful's shotgun. Wrathful now pushing back around kind of cautiously around that corner, just checking his corners and moving in on Zone B. And here comes...
It's gone.
Oh! Oh, but I don't believe it counted as cast, actually.
Yeah, it didn't
I didn't
show.
see it pop up in the kill feed, so it looks like he was able to just get him killed quickly before any of that damage resistance or even the pop actually registered within the servers.
That would be kind of unfortunate for It Had to Be Us, even though they do have this
DGK
pretty
is near
strong
Ninja.
lead right now, 75 to 38, up about 40 points just under. Nade thrown out to Zone B, getting some shots down on Shoot to Loot and trying to push up onto him in what would be a 1v1, but now going to get followed around the corner there, taken out by Shoot to Loot in the head-to-head. So now Shoot to Loot back up, capturing Zone B, trying to get back that zone advantage, and or just get any zone. It is 1 zone now for Radiant to 2 zones for It Had to Be Us. Shoot to Loot playing around in here, trying to dodge around Cyryu's Daybreak, but not able to do it as Cyryu takes out Shoot to Loot. And so now over to the aforementioned player getting another kill on Prototype at the tail end of that Daybreak. And now it looks like an Arc Staff coming out from Harley over on It Had to Be Us. Cyryu pushing back over into the zone, trying to finish it off with a long-range shotgun, has to switch to that hand cannon to make it happen. One more pushing in on him and eventually gets taken out by Prototype sliding in.
That was an interesting little move right there because we had Radiant locked up in here in B, and then we had It Had to Be Us over on the C side and then cast the Daybreak, and we had Radiant actually just wrap around the back side of It Had to Be Us and that overall push, and ended up moving over to that C side. And
now we've got
now
this
it's still a
Nova Warp coming in.
40-point game, though.
Yeah, and sure, you do have some room to play with 7 minutes and 33 seconds left to play as I say that. And you're playing to 150, but still, if one team is 60 points away and the other one is 100 points away, well, that's a 40-point difference, and that's not good. So you got to come back and overcome that. Shoot to Loot going down here for Radiant, and Mods getting the kill on Wrathful around the corner and kind of, avenging Prototype, as it says in the feed. Shoot to Loot spawning back up over towards the porch, moving into the facility, and trying to pick up Zone B again. They need to get this cap, but here comes the Storm Trance from Lost Ninja, trying to play Ring Around the Rosie, but there were no posies in that pocket. the next line of that song is a pocket full of posies. Everybody gets it. Shoot to Loot spawning back up in the caves, or Melt, sorry, moving into the caves on Zone C, and that is a power play coming out of It Had to Be Us. They've capped all of the zones, and Radiant trying to pick up.
Oh boy, say we ain't pushing in with the Spectral Blades, and that's going to be 2 kills on that power play. Sorry, I saw the name of it at the top of, that did not say power play.
Yeah, and so now 117 to 56, Cyryu shooting back over into Zone B. He's got one pushing out, might get him with a shotgun, and does. That's Prototype with the shotgun melee on Cyryu, and now just waiting to spawn back up. Here we are back in the outside, going up to the porch and trying to take Zone B from the outside corner. We're going to have to see who all is there. Kind of split from the rest of the team, but so far that hasn't necessarily seemed to matter all that much. Cyryu has contacts back behind, and that is a Spectral Blade that has come out from Shoot to Loot. So Cyryu trying to back off and not get taken out from it as he swapped to Shoot to Loot himself. Pushing now around this corner, waiting to find somebody. You can see with those wall hacks around the corner here. Going to try to bounce back in, but taking a lot of team shot. It looks like they almost baited him into that spot. Is he going to be able to make it to the end? No, and now it's going to have to be a 1v1 situation.
No.
That was quite a way to play that Spectral Blades. They gave him a strong radar ping by stacking 2 players on top of each other, and then had a third back around the corner to stop giving some fire, or start giving some fire, and made that kind of ineffective.
Wow, but while all of that was happening, they weren't able to put any pressure on the rest of the map. Radiant, for a moment, I think was in the middle of a power play.
Yeah, and are now up 2-1 on zones. And there was almost a power play again, and it just swapped back. I can kind of hear the alarm sounding, but right now, only 20 points left for It Had to Be Us to take this game to 130-80, drop under 5 minutes to play. So if Radiant wants to get out of this, they're going to have to really push hard. We've got Sire Ryu pushing in with that Daybreak now, moving around into Zone B, trying to take it and get zone dominance back. One pushing back behind him. He's got pings all over the radar, trying to play around these corners. And he's got one in the door, not able to get anybody, but I think he did manage to at least effectively hold them off of Zone B and let the rest of the team come in and do it, because here we go, shoot to loot, trying to take out one with a shotgun. He's got one more around here, and they're just trying to reset that zone and take it as Wrathful comes out with a double down in that Noble Ward.
Wow, yeah, that Radiance was spent the entire time, or sorry, the Daybreak was spent the entire time basically on B as a deterrent from Radiant being able to push onto that zone at all.
Yeah, so now, I mean, there is still a gap, and it's still pretty big. Harley coming in now with a double kill with the Arc Staff on both Seiwei and Wrathful before Sire Ryu trades with mods, and it's 137-98, so still about a 40-point difference, and they've kind of held that. Now, there are two ways, in my mind, that you can kind of look at that. One is the fact that it's a 40-point difference. That's not great. But the other is that
it used to be 60.
Well, it's been held to a 40-point difference for about the past 3 or 4 minutes, and kind of stayed consistent as it's gone up 40 points. That means that Radiant might be playing up now and starting to get it back together, even though this match is coming to a close. So Radiant,
what a time that would be to start your comeback, and then and then now you're down 2 games. You've got to win 3 in a row, and then you've got to go up to the winners bracket or the grand finals and beat that team
and then
twice. So, you know, if they can end up winning the next, 9 games that they play, then they win the tournament.
Yeah. Ooh, a nice shotgun shot there from Sire Ryu on Prototype coming in around the corner. Careful not to jump off. Sire Ryu pushing back around the outside, just kind of playing around it. They only need 1 more kill to win this, and then we're going to a game 3, and it would be up, it had to be us up 2-0, and that's what it will be on Radiant as Seiwei finishes that out with an Arc Staff.
And there you have it. It had to be us, up 2-0, 1 game away from advancing to the grand finals, making it out of the losers bracket.
Yeah. All right, let's take a...
And we are going to reset real quick.
Get everything up and ready, and we will go ahead and, in just a second, talk about the match that we just saw, talk about what's going on here. So like I said, let's talk about the match that we just saw.
Let's do it.
Computer. So it's 2-0 right now. It had to be us over Radiant, and like you said, this is just an uphill battle right now for Radiant. Going this 5 games in a row now that they've gone down.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that plays mentally? We kind of talked about it a little bit in the middle of the game, but now that we have a little bit of a chance to catch our breath. Our collective breath,
yes.
Yeah, and move up through it. How is that going to affect everything, you think, moving forward? Do you think they rally? Do you think that fact that they were able to maintain that 40-point gap after closing it from 60 and maintain that means that they'll be able to come out in the next round, and the next round being Countdown on Pacifica?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so going to another Countdown match for what could be the elimination. And then after that, we've got Control on Javelin and Survival on Endless Veil.
Mm-hmm. And we're about to switch right back to it once we get this
And
up,
we'll discuss this when we get back into our gameplay.
which will be coming up in a second.
In just one moment. But I want to say, if they're going to end up making it back into, and here we go, we're jumping right back into this match. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so as we jump into this, we kind of talked in the first match and a little bit before the entire thing about the part that Countdown can play. And now something to keep in mind is that Countdown is a game type that Radiant generally plays very well. They had all of the top players and I think efficiency across the countdown setup, and they played it very, very close against Mira in that first round before coming down into the losers bracket. The thing to watch will be whether or not It Had to Be Us is going to play Radiant the way that they want them to play when it comes to their opposition. We talked about how Radiant, who Prototype we're watching now, like to set early and then go for the play, but make sure that the bomb is a factor here. Mira kind of deconstructed that and went for the defuse. Now we're going to say that word again. Went for the defuse early, and we're going to have to see if It Had to Be Us will do the same thing.
And it's crazy. I mean, you saw how well Radiant was playing this game type last time. They had the advantage in the kills, but Mira took 3 rounds off of Radiant by ninja defusing.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up being the difference in the game.
Yeah. And so it seems now like charge has been set. Wrathful over here, and they're able to wipe Radiant pretty quickly. So that's a quick first round going over to It Had to Be Us. And again, we are playing 2-6. So now, Wrathful of It Had to Be Us. We hear the call out. He's going in over here, pushing up into the inside, and just going to wait for a contact as they wait to see where Radiant is going to set. He calls out that contact. They are going to set up on top in the red bay and gets a couple shots over there, but Cyryu able to take out Prototype before Wrathful goes down to Harley's hand cannon, and Mods is able to set that charge. Like we said, setting pretty early, playing for that to start. But another goes down, so now it's a 2v1 with the charge already set. And so we've got Say We Ain't trying to jump around over here on the inside. And it's a 2v1 in Radiant's favor right now. And so that's going to be a round win going over to Radiant as all members of It Had to Be Us go down.
So
I wasn't paying attention.
The way that I kind of see this so far, based off of the 2 rounds we've seen between the 2 teams, it looked like It Had to Be Us is very strong at setting up and then and planting the bomb and then locking down that area.
Yeah.
And what worked so well against Radiant when it came to Mira was Radiant set really early, but Mira created the chaos that they needed to be able to ninja defuse throughout all of, like, even in this small area. It's not like you can't you know, you can stop looking at that bomb or not. You can stare at that bomb all you want, but if you have the chaos that Mira was creating for Radiant, then you're not able to keep your eye on it. Then you're able to get that ninja defuse. So what we have so far, and I guess it's 1-1, so I can't tell exactly who. Or so we're watching Wrathful right now.
And they're down to it. He's the last man standing at the moment and hasn't set. So now he's trying to get that set off, and then he's going to have to try to run around while staying close enough to that charge to not go down. And it's a 2v1. He already took out 1 with the shotgun, and he's going to have 1 more kind of funneling in. Oh, he's able to get another, but he just goes down, and they're going to get that defuse on the bomb. That was almost played perfectly. Wrathful trying to drag somebody in and set up that 1v1. We talk about the strategy of, you know, turning a bad situation like a 2v1 or a 3v1 into a series of 1v1 engagements, and he almost had that. But then the last member of Radiant came out around the corner and was able to get those last shots before going in to defuse the bomb.
You see how far through the wall
you look exactly how Radiant is playing this. They're setting early, and then It Had to Be Us was just on offense.
Yeah.
And they did not set early, despite, you know, meeting the other team where they wanted to go. They could have switched fields real quick, set the bomb as quickly as they could. And that seems to be the difference so far, and it sounds like you heard a little bit of chatter from It Had to Be Us going, guys, I think we need to set a little bit earlier.
And the other thing to think about in that last round with that late set from Wrathful is the fact that that gave the 2 members of Radiant, there we see one now, more time to build up that super as they went in and got that bomb defusal. So now Prototype set that right at the beginning, and so Radiant's got that bomb set as we drop that rift. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. For some reason I couldn't. But he drops that rift over on the corner to negate that grenade.
So not tent.
Like no, it wasn't
suggested earlier.
Or high ground or anything like that. And so 3 members of It Had to Be Us down and finishing them off. That is Prototype taking out Cyryu with the hand cannon and didn't even have to really defend all that much because they were just able to take him out with some good shots there. And I think we're going to start seeing some supers coming out of Radiant who are now up 3-1 in this countdown set. So Radiant again pushing in with the rest of, or with Prototype, and waiting to see where that charge is going to be set.
Now you have to wonder, are they going to try and use this Nova Warp to try and charge the rest of the other supers? We've got a bit of freezing here in our stream, and here we go. That answers my question. Nova Warp v Nova Warp.
Oh, and Wrathful is completely surrounded, which is kind of what you want when you've got a Nova Warp
You got
out.
an explosion that goes in all directions.
Yeah, and just barely missed that corner, but now he's going to try to charge that up and get the outside. He's got some people there, gets one, not able to finish that off with the last one around the corner and gets taken out with a shotgun from Prototype there. Prototype comes around the corner but gets taken out by Ninja. Say We Ain't also gets the kill with the shotgun on Shoot to Loot. That's going to be another round now going to It Had to Be Us, 3-2. And this is kind of like what we were seeing between Radiant and Mira. A very, very close coming down to it countdown matchup playing to 6.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if saving that Nova Warp ended up being the right call to try and counter what might end up being their Nova Warp, or if he maybe should have used it a little bit sooner to try and get that rotation sooner. That's what I was trying to make a point before we jumped right into Nova Warp v Nova Warp.
Yeah.
We've got a Spectral Blades active, and on this map, it is very good to have wall hacks around these tight corners.
Oh, Wrathful gets stuck out in the open. He was a little bit farther past that door than he thought he was. And Shoot to Loot gets one on Siryu right there, and that is all of It Had to Be Us down. And that's going to be another point going over to Radiant.
No, they use a Storm too.
So, that would be the Spectral Blades well used to secure that round.
So we're still with iWrathful. We've got 2 supers left over on Radiant side, 1 super for It Had to Be Us. So they'll have a Spectral Blades. On the other side, there's going to be an Arc. And Storm Trance. Here we go. And we're going to start off over here with a, it looked like, Storm coming out. And Spectral Blades coming out from that. So now Wrathful just kind of waiting here, calling out to his team, just chill. They've got somebody, or two members of Radiant around the outside. You hear that call out coming in. And still have not set that charge yet. Now it looks like, sounded like somebody was running up to the top to set that, and it has been set.
Wow, the length of that Spectral Blades lasted so much longer than the Storm Trance.
Yeah.
And that's what a good thing that ended up being in their favor for It Had to Be Us was they were able to just set that standoff.
Yeah.
And you're going to outlast them every single time if you're sitting there in your cloaking because it extends your super time.
Yeah. So now, still with iWrathful, and It Had to Be Us pushing back onto the inside, and they are on defense this time, waiting to see where Radiant is going to set that charge. You hear the call-outs coming from him. He's got somebody on the far side, and I think he thought they were going outside, then realized that they were actually inside. As Ninja comes out with a Storm Trance set, and the charge has been set. We've got an Arc Staff coming from It Had to Be Us.
That was Lost Ninja was able to take him out.
Yeah, he just finished off that Arc Staff.
That is a used-up Arc Staff on Radiant's side, and this game's going to be all tied up 4-4.
But now they're going to wait, and you see this is something we saw yesterday. They are waiting now for that charge to get as close as possible so they can finish up building. You see that Wrathful is almost up to that super, and so they can gain a little bit of extra time there.
I mean, in 5 seconds is 5 seconds when it's building your entire team's supers. It's a lot, especially in this game type.
And so now it's all tied up. At the beginning, it was all Radiant after an early round win from It Had to Be Us. But now it looks like Wrathful and It Had to Be Us
focus on the kills,
starting
guys.
to
Go for kills.
push it around the other way. And you hear him call, focus on the kills as they go for the set. And it looks like they're going to try to just feel out the set over at the deck before maybe swapping back around unless somebody's going to sit there. Okay, so they're pulling away from there. That was one down. Prototype takes out Say We Ain't, so It Had to Be Us down by 1 as they push onto the inside, and it looks like they might try to set there instead. That's an immediate pop of that super from Wrathful. Kind of caught one coming around the corner. Gets one with the Nova Warp. Has another in the room. Gets smoked. Trying to take out another. Gets 2 with that Nova Warp. And now it is a 3v1. And an active super here. He's going to get that Supernova out. He gets it with the Supernova. Taking out Prototype. Wrathful had a 3-kill game in that, or 3-kill round right there. And that has pushed them up now to a 5-4 lead. That was a pretty good round.
I just did
the fadeaway handheld Supernova. He just threw it and walked away. Ended up getting the kill right there on Prototype. And now they are one round away from winning the game. Can they seal it up with this Daybreak from Saya?
There we go. We have Wrathful coming in with some shotgun shots, trying to follow up Prototype, not doing it though. He's got around the corner and he's able to take out Prototype then on the second effort, pushing back around. And that was a quick win. It Had to Be Us is going to the grand final.
Look at that. Another 3-0. Radiant again not able to secure a game in the next match, and that will eliminate them from the tournament.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're gonna have the grand final set up. It had to be us
15. You said
versus
15%.
Mira,
Yeah.
and it's looking like it's probably gonna be a good one.
Thank you.
As Xander drinks his water, and we switch back over to us.
Ah, Focus by Advance is so good.
Oh, is that what you're drinking right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just saw an ad for that. Did you know?
I did.
Did you do that on purpose, or were you just
Absolutely.
drinking? Okay, good. Nice.
Of course, I don't have one of those fun shakers, but
maybe one day.
yeah. Well, I just have to buy one. So, or I could buy. I think some people have some specials going around where you could buy 2 tubs and get a free shaker. So,
Is that a special that's going around?
It is.
Are you just making it up, or are you saying it like it's an actual special?
Well, we'll get some confirmation from the people the lovely people over at Advance.gg.
Yeah.
Their product is amazing. And,
I believe right now, if you use I think it's their code for 10%. I think it's GR Live.
That sounds right.
That's how you would spell that. That's GR Live, not We Are Live, as Xander thought it was. Like, we are live.
He said it, but I have my headphones on, and he wasn't on mic, so.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? So anyway, with that done, you're going to think it's the wrong thing, I guess. I don't know. With that done, we're going to get ready to set up this grand final. It had to be us versus Mira, and we'll probably cut quickly to a BRB. Did we want to see if we wanted to get Fallout back or do something like that?
Well, let's chat a little bit.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I
Let's
mean,
talk. Yeah, okay.
We can discuss the last matchup and what we kind of expect to see in the one coming up. And then what we'll probably end up doing is bringing on Fallout for a post-mortem report.
Okay, that sounds like a good thing to do.
On the tournament. So
we planned this in advance. We didn't just plan that now.
Right. And he's not just hearing that plan right now either.
Yeah. No,
via this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, so we've got Mira versus It Had to Be Us. The last time these two teams faced off was in the winner's bracket. It had to be us going down 3-0 to Mira. Mira sent them to the loser's bracket. And
though I wonder if I pull up, hold on, let's take a look. I do have a bracket here.
Here we go.
A bracket that does have a microphone working on it, yes. So if we look at this, it was down right there at the bottom. It Had to Be Us was 3-0'd by Mira, and that was pretty early. It Had to Be Us had a bye in the first round. That's why it shows against Team 30, and then 3-0'd etsKi. And then It Had to Be Us went down into the losers bracket with, I think, hold on, actually, I can tell because I have that here too. We can take a look. Look how prepared.
Look at that.
Look how good this is.
There we go. Flipping over to the losers bracket. We've got, and it kind of shows It Had to Be Us's resilience because they had to play 5 extra matches throughout the losers bracket to finally make it to back up to the grand finals.
Yep. And that's something where I wonder if that's going to have given them kind of a little bit of extra practice and a little bit of extra, being on your game to get to this. There's also something to consider is the fact that going into this final with Mira, sure, It Had to Be Us has played 5 games in that. They 2-0'd in 3 of them in a best of 3, and now coming into today have played 2 matches in a row back-to-back. Mira's only played 1. And so It Had to Be Us is now coming off of winning 3-1 and then winning 3-0. And so you wonder if that really helps them get clicking and ready to move forward into the next match, and if that's going to be an advantage. And also, I wonder if Mira has been keeping warm, whether that's playing Rumble or scrimming each other in 2v2 or whatever it is that they're doing. I mean, what would you do in a situation like that?
Absolutely. I'd want to do everything in my power to be able to stay warm. And these players are obviously going to be trying to, keep those shots going, play against each other. Obviously,
Yeah.
all of those teammates are of the best that they can possibly play.
Yeah.
Especially in kind of a rumble. Just keeping both your mind and body ready for the grand finals, and that's what these guys are doing. Despite it had to be us playing more matches throughout, getting a little bit more practice, Mira is playing spectacularly, and they are not to be overlooked, especially since it had to be us, has to beat them in 2 series. Because they're coming from the loser's bracket. Mira has to end up losing. They have to lose 2. It's a double elimination. You can't just beat the grand finalist once. So.
Yeah, that's not how that works. You can't just beat them once. And so it's going to be interesting to see. And that's also the thing about a double elimination match is the kind of endurance match that it becomes in the end here. And also part of the reason that we didn't just play the entire thing out over one day is that this part alone has already lasted a couple of hours starting off from when we started, and it has the potential to go for another anywhere from 30 minutes if Mira were to wipe them 3-0 in the first match and just automatically win, to 2 more hours of playtime if it had to be us, wins in the first set and goes to a 5-game match and then goes to a 5-game match in the other. Now, we've only had that happen once. I think in the last test tournament for GetRekt, that wasn't something that happened. I think we had a 3-0. It had to be us just wiped. Who did they play? Sinister, I think, in the final? Yeah, it had to be us versus Sinister in the final, right. I think. And so they blasted through that, but in that one,
I think it was like our
Destiny 2
Destiny
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Destiny 2 showcase. We
BSK
had
versus
a double Game 7 final. Oh, that was exhausting.
That was a 12-hour broadcast overall. I'm sure everybody was tired in that. So it becomes, like I was saying, it's just kind of a matter of sheer will once you get to the end there. So let's go ahead and swap over and see if we do have a feed that is up, getting ready to go into this.
$18 of us, including General and Saito.
Well,
here we go. We've got streams up, bouncing back and forth between the map and others. So let's take a look, Xander. I don't know who else I would be talking to and why I would need to specify your name. But
potentially the producer we have on.
Oh, yeah, true.
On our mics.
Could be. So let's take a look. This is a best of 5, and we're starting with, we have not seen this map yet today, Dead Cliffs, and we're going to be playing Supremacy. So kind of the same start that we've had in all of the other matches, being a Supremacy match, but starting on Dead Cliffs as a new map for us today. And Dead Cliffs is one of those maps that does kind of lend itself to Supremacy. There are a couple maps that we talk about as we see this fly through here, and you can see the stuff that I'm about to mention, which is the fact that when you're on Dead Cliffs, there are a lot of corners. There's a lot of close range stuff that, that plays really, really well if you know your way around a shotgun. And from what we've seen, these guys know their way around shotguns.
Absolutely.
Actually, I don't think we've seen anybody pull out a sniper. Something that we were seeing yesterday were
I
other
saw
teams.
a couple sniper plays yesterday, but
yes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, nothing today.
And there was a lot of checking that was going on, and I think part of that, too, was because of the map that Countdown was being played on. Or what were they playing it on, like Radiant Cliffs? Or whatever that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're playing it on that with a lot of longer sight lines, and so they were always checking just to make sure nobody was going to be kind of zoning them out with that snipe.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, up next is our grand finals between It Had to Be Us and, well, there we go. I thought we were about to go boots on the ground, but instead, we're still getting ready for our grand finals, guys. It Had to Be Us versus Mira coming up next, and we're just waiting for these guys to get started.
Like, we can or we could not fill this time. Who knows?
Kind of depends. We could go to an away screen, or we could just
they're close enough to being ready.
keep
I don't
talking.
think we need to do that. Yeah, we'll just keep on talking.
No, we're waiting for them to They're going to say go. That's what they said.
Sounds like they're very close.
Very close indeed. Sounds like they're waiting for the say-so to go.
You're just slowly ramping up.
Go. And we're going to change that scoreboard real quick. It is not 3-0 yet. But instead, we'll go back to our intro from earlier. Get hyped, guys. It's the grand finals.
Wasn't that cool, everybody?
Very cool. Those graphics brought to you by Anubis. Amazing work that he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really stepped it up for this, and
this little montage brought to you by our producer etsKi.
just give everybody some credit.
Yeah.
And these voices brought to you by Bennett and Xander.
Well, these voices brought to you by my parents. Well,
Yeah.
and Bennett's parents.
Yeah, and, yeah. We're brothers? Mom?
And we are
Flying in.
in.
Awesome. To quote Xander from earlier.
Boots on the ground, boots on the ground.
Are you singing Pants on the Ground from that second season
American Idol?
of American Idol? Maybe
All right, this is UK
12
tournament.
years ago?
They wouldn't all know about this.
I mean, Simon Cowell was on it. He's from the UK. So everybody knows everyone.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works? I don't know. I'm not from there.
All right,
Gruppo
everybody clap.
abbandonato.
You're watching your screens. Everybody clap. Maybe we can all get.
Sono morta Europa. Europea. Squadra.
I'm not even going to try. You've heard it before. My
Sorry,
Italian
you
is
starting-
lackluster.
Well, it's because you thought it was Spanish. Sorry, you, and it had to be us starting us off. Gets the healing rift down. Now, see, now I can think of that anytime I want to for some reason. Gets the healing rift down on that corner for the team to start and gets the nade thrown out there. Some fire coming in across the way and a nade coming out. That might get him unless he can run away from it. A little bit too far away for that shotgun. And remember, this is Supremacy that we're playing. So they're going to have to get in close and personal to collect those crests. Gets over around the corner, gets pushed, and gets taken out. That was Mansion taking out Cyryu. And actually, that is 3 members down and a 3-piece coming from a team. And that was, I think, Deadly Hex and Mansion and one other that I didn't see.
Yeah, and this is going to be fast-paced. You're going to be seeing pushes around corners you don't normally see in other game types because in order to take advantage of those kills, you have to pick up the crest from the ground. And so as soon as one member goes down, you're going to see a quick collapse from the rest of the team, and it's going to move quickly, folks, especially in the close quarters engagements that are this map. 4-8 in favor of Mira, about a minute in.
Now, the thing that's interesting looking at this to me is that I've already seen a couple of kind of individual pushes into areas with multiple teams, or team shotting people who are in a group with their teammates, which isn't actually going to be super beneficial to you because their teammates are just going to be able to collapse on their own crests and recover them. So I'm wondering how this is going to kind of play out as we wait for Cyryu to spawn back up. And so far, it seems like Mira is taking advantage the most of their team movement. It's 15-7 for them as we're under just about a minute of play, 13-18 left, so almost at that 2-minute mark.
Something that I didn't actually notice before now was the fact that Mira is comprised of 2 It Had to Be Us
Yeah.
Destiny clan members. So there are 6 It Had to Be Us members in the grand finals of this tournament, just on different teams.
You know, it also lets you, I mean, you would think that you would see some standoff here because they would know how everybody plays. Now, to be fair, most of these sweat teams know how other sweat teams play because they scrim each other often.
Absolutely.
And you see them, and it'll be sure they managed to win in this tournament or the other tournament, but they're playing at least once or twice a week for a couple hours just to practice because there's only so many teams that you can play against. So Cyryu and It Had to Be Us in name.
Those shots.
Some nice shots going. He gets another with
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Nice primary there from Cyryu, and they're going to have to collect all those crests, though. It looks like somebody got some, and is that going to push them up? Now trying to follow up one more. It's 18-22, only a 4-point game. Team shots over into the into the warehouse down there, and Saya pushing in. He's got the shotgun out a little too far away, finishes it off with the quick swap to the hand cannon, but gets taken out before able to do that. And Saab had a lot of stuff in the kill feed, but not actually a whole lot of stuff accomplished. He was just collecting crests. And
Collecting crest, I think, generated an orb with his shotgun.
Yeah.
But really close game still. Mira still with the 3-point advantage and going to get to that super first. Has to slow it down a little bit, but there's still a lot of time left on this Nova Warp. He can kill people through walls with a charged up explosion right there. Hasn't gotten anybody yet. The enemy team is just baiting him around.
They completely outplayed that, and Saab was not able to get anything with that Nova Warp, pushing all the way back around, and other than kind of rotating the team, didn't get any kills with it. So, and that's something that can be done as Deadly Hex comes out with this Daybreak. That can be done with supers is, you know, pulling them around and trying to move the team around and rotate them into that. That's 2 from Deadly Hex, so that went pretty well. Lost Ninja coming out with the Storm Trance, and Saab trying to get some shots on before getting taken out across that or behind that wall.
Did you see that, though? He threw a grenade just because he wasn't able to close the distance with the Storm Trance. He threw a grenade and started that damage happening before he actually got there with the Storm Trance.
Yeah.
Doing like a little bit of bait and switch distraction. And we've got another one coming out of Wrath. Or no, it's Mansion again.
Yep.
2 kills. So far still alive, chasing down one of the last members alive.
Yeah, and that we've talked about Mansion and how he plays on that Arc Strider. That Arc Staff super is crazy for him. Again, in that very first game, we saw him getting a team wipe with his first one and 3 out of 4 with his next one. And so now Cyryu bouncing up around this doorway before jumping out to collect this crest. And they're down, and it has been widened just a little bit. It's a 33-49, and that's Mira that's got the advantage right now. But Cyryu able to get a nice little shotgun kill there, trying to finish it up with a hand cannon. Double down from Cyryu on both Mansion and Saab.
Something I'm so impressed with Saya right now is what he's doing is always having the weapon out for the engagement that he needs, depending on the range of the engagement. He's always switching to the one that he needs to be able to put the most damage down on his enemies. Having a little bit of trouble making the swords land, but is able to get Saab there at the end of his super, though.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of the speed of the Dawnblade when that Daybreak super is cast as Saya bounced around to the far corner of the map. But Saab able to kind of juke him for quite a bit of that and avoid some of those swords, which, I mean, it can be tough to hit some of those sometimes, especially if you don't have the tracking on them. And so now Saya coming back over into the center, and Say We Ain't was out with that super and has gotten 1 kill so far, and getting them a little bit closer. It's now a 6-point game, and they've lessened that from, I think it was about 10 a little bit ago. So 9:19 left to play. Some contacts over on the far right side as Cyryu throws out that nade and tries to forget it. That's 2 quick kills coming from Lost, I think, and got 2 of those, and then coming out with some team shots. That was Saab, Wrathful, and 1 more as Say We Ain't gets a melee kill for It Had to Be Us.
Yeah, you have to recognize that even if you don't get production with your super, if you are able to deny the enemy anything with theirs, those supers, if effectively used, can be such a huge momentum swing. So if you're able to get in the enemy's head by surviving and basically making that super a wash, it ends up being a win for you.
Yeah, we had, and there, as Xander was talking, 2 kills coming across from It Had to Be Us, and getting him a little bit closer. 5-point game now, 57-62. Again, playing to 100 with 8 minutes and 28 seconds left to play. They're kind of split into a 2-2, and here comes a Storm Trance from Lost Boys.
That was
over
tough.
on Mira.
The entire doorway was filled with lightning, and then one member ended up pushing up. Saya, I believe, was the one that pushed up, trying to get a little bit of damage down. Unfortunately, by touching any of that lightning, he started sending it to his teammate as well, and it wiped the both of them out. Tough situation to be in. I think that probably wanted to wait for that to come through so they can split up in that room a little bit and get some team shots down on the Stormtrance. But either way, 6-point game, 7 minute, 45 seconds left to go. We've got Mira in the lead at the moment.
They've kept it pretty close, and now we've got the Daybreak coming out around the corner along with the rest of the team. Here comes Mira charging around the corner on the heels of their Daybreak, trying to pick up both orbs and crests. Lost Ninja, though, able to get a kill there, and Cyryu spawning back up on the inside in the garage before getting taken out immediately by the Daybreak, and Lost Boys with the hand cannon kill on Lost Ninja. Wrathful going down as well. Deadly Hex gets a follow-up after that super was done. Takes him out with a shotgun.
Wait,
10-point game.
Was that Saya going down to the Daybreak twice in one super?
I think it might have been. Nova Warp coming in from Saab, and he gets, you can tell he's got the burn damage on him, went straight through that nade, had to back off, decided not to push through it.
He just noped the heck out of there.
He's like, ah! No thanks.
No, 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 no.
Ah, this hurt more than I thought it would. Cyryu spawning back up once again and pushing out to the outside. His teammates are completely split, so we got split spawned there and getting ready to rejoin. That was, I think, a super that came out from maybe
Lost
Lost.
Ninja was got a double down right there. Maybe even a triple. I saw 2 orbs right there.
Wrathful with the Nova Warp out, I think, gets 1 kill to start. And now Cyryu playing around this corner. Here it comes around the corner. Wrathful with 2 more, and he might... Oh, he wasn't able to get that finish.
Oh, the rotation of these supers is absolutely electrifying right now. And he's already back on his Daybreak. Oh, no, that wasn't Saya's Daybreak.
No, that's somebody else.
Before.
He just died to it.
Yeah, died to it twice.
Yeah, but the game is tied, and now it had to be us takes the lead, 85-84, with this super rotation, basically. And so now bouncing back around. He's got some orbs to pick up here, but here come 2 members of Mira over the hill, and no more around the corner. He's able to fade around, but gets taken out by Saab. And now another super coming out, and we've got Spectral Blades as far as I can... No, sorry, it's not that.
No, it was Spectral Blades and Arc Staff facing off against each other. They decided to back off and disengage. And I think that Spectral Blades ultimately will have the advantage there because of the time that they're allowed to hold on to that super.
You would think.
We'll see. No production has come from either one.
Cyryu going down, waiting to spawn back up, and now a little bit of a separation being forced by Mira. It's 92-89. Still only a 3-point game, 5.5 minutes left to play, so time is not going to be a factor. It's going to go to points here, and we've got kind of team versus team. Cyryu trying to zone them off of picking up those crests and get a shotgun kill on that. Going to have to pick up those crests if they don't want that to go over. A 4-point game, make that a 6-point game. 5 minutes and 9 seconds left to play, and there's the 100. Mira is going to take game 1 of the grand final. They only have to win 2 more in this first series if they want to win the entire thing. Win 400 pounds.
Mira can close it out in 2 more matches that's what's really tough for It Had to Be Us, because they know that they're in it for the long run. They know that they're going to have to win 6 out of the next 10 games that they're playing. And before Mira is able to even win just 3 in a row in either one of those best of 3s, or best of 5, sorry.
Yeah. So taking a look now, and let's see what the next thing that we're going to be looking at is. It's going to be Control on Endless Veil. So another map I actually haven't seen yet today.
That's right. Look at these grand finals.
Look at them. Look at them on your screen with your eyes.
And here we go. The next beautiful graphic we have up for the next map.
Credit to Bungie for making the map itself, which
sure, yeah. Thank you, Bungie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you're listening.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate.
Yeah. That's what we say over here in America.
Appreciate.
I don't think anybody says that. I did.
Endless.
Got some stats looking up here. Overall efficiency, It Had to Be Us actually doing pretty good, leading everybody. Say We Ain't at 2.14, Cyryu at 2.12, and Lunars at 2.06. I don't think we've seen Lunars play today, though. So
I don't know, but either way, we've got, I mean, you see that before today, before, unfortunately for Radiant, they lost 6 games in a row to be eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah.
We had Prototype right up there at the top, I believe, of that might have been the GetRekt rating. But it had to be us.
At the top of the GetRekt
Yeah,
rating.
yeah. That's what it ended up being. But yeah, wow, it had to be us. 3 of the top 5 overall efficiency players. And that may have had something to do with the fact that they were playing up through the losers bracket against players who had already been losing, and so maybe were a bit of a weaker opponent ultimately. But either way, you know, they're in the grand finals. They're down 1-0 against Mira, but amazing players, amazing tournament so far. They just got to turn it around, get a win in there, and then that starts it. You get your first win against Mira, and then
you get your second win. And if you get more wins than them, you win after another match. And that's just how a tournament is played.
Oh, yes, Tournament 101 brought to you by Bennett and Xander.
Yeah. I mean, any games 101 we're going to talk about, you get more points than the other team, and you're probably going to win unless you're playing golf.
Yep, that's pretty much the one game that
we're not watching golf, though. We're watching Destiny 2. And Sire Yu is slowly jittering up to get ready to play this next match, which is, as we said, Control on Endless Veil. So we start off once again, Sire Yu with It Had to Be Us, and he's going to hang back. He will be the sole person taking this zone for them, and they're going to try to start off with the zone C and B capture. Looks like we got one to start, and they got that before. I'm sure that the reason is there's going to be a lot more members of Mira over here on Zone B, that it was a little bit slower for them to take that. We see one jumping out of Drain, one into middle, and Saya coming around, but half of that shot was blocked by the wall. He gets taken out. That's Wrathful and Say We Ain't making some shots, though, to get some other kills for the team, and it's 3-3, pretty evenly tied. Nobody's taken Zone B yet.
I love that push that Mira had right there in the middle, taking Sairyu by surprise, because they pushed simultaneously around that corner and not at head level. They were flying through the air, able to put down damage onto Saya. It ended up being even after that push anyway, down 2-2 as far as members alive go, I should clarify. But that push of B and control of B goes to Mira to start this match, and that's going to give them not only the zone advantage, but the map control advantage, having that higher end of the map controlled.
Yeah. Now Siryu spawning back up, a little bit of a shake there, so we'll see what's up with that. But it had to be us down right now, 5-14, and Mira was able to get out there and take that initial Zone B cap, and so they've got the 2-zone advantage. But nice 3-tap from Saya, taking out Deadly Hex. And now one more around the corner, gonna have to watch out for that Healing Rift, but takes him out with a shotgun before getting taken down by another shotgun coming from Saab, and then some trades right there. Wrathful going down, but Say We Ain't taking out Mansion. Siryu spawning back up over in the, I forget what that one's called, and I'm not looking at it in Italian. And but spawning back up, moving over to Zone B, but gets taken out quickly by Saab, who's jumping up and takes him out with the shotgun. And oh boy, Mira are starting to run away with this. It is 28-9 with 13 minutes left to play, only 2 minutes elapsed.
Now, that being said, it's only 19 points. It looks a lot worse when you only have a one-digit score. Early on in this map, it's easy to let your eyes play tricks on you, making you think that you're down a lot more than you actually are. But once they hit that, 10-11 mark, then you'll be like, okay, right, it's only an 18-point game. It's still early. There's still plenty of time left on the game, and there's still plenty of time to get this control.
Yep. Siryu pushing back around the corner now, and he is set, and they are in a bit of a 2-2 with one other teammate. He gets the nade thrown out, the rift down, and now 3 of them all together over here. They take one out, and now forcing their way around this corner, trying to take out some team shot. We've got the arc staff coming out, and now trying to shoot from the side, but all of that is getting deflected.
Early!
And here comes Mansion. That's double on Lost Ninja and Siryu, as Say We Ain't takes out Deadly Hex. And here comes the arc staff out to Zone B, and he just can't quite make it. Wrathful takes out Mansion with that hand cannon, and they try to get some advantage on Zone B. 43-17 as we drop under 12 minutes to play. Siryu waiting to spawn back up.
They were able to take back Zone B, and that's going to in turn give them some sort of advantage to take one of the other zones back. But 2 or 3 members went down, just tried to hold on and take back that Zone B and get them off of a power play. They're going to have advantage just for a moment. Zone B is going over to Mira at the moment. and they're going to need to start gaining control of these zones if they want to make this push back into the game. Down by 26 points.
Yeah, and we can see the way that Mira is moving as a team. They seem to be kind of just shepherding It Had to Be Us around this corner right now as a super comes out from Wrathful, and he takes out one right at the stop, but a Storm Trance, I think, coming out the other side to go against that Nova Warp from Wrathful.
Oh, Nova Warp 3 down from Wrathful.
And now a Daybreak coming from the other side, pushing into Zone B and trying to get some, able to get two right in a row. Say We Ain't and Wrathful going down. And here comes a Daybreak from Ryu, throwing it around the corner here and has one somewhere around him, just waiting on the other side of that rock, trying to juke him. And he throws that blade out, and he hasn't been able to hit him yet. And talk about evasion.
That is the second time we've seen Saya get kind of duped. I know we said that duped used to mean, you know, duplicates in other context of a conversation, but he got duped, he got juked, and doesn't get any kills.
Yeah, Say We Ain't out with the Spectral Blades and was able to get one, I think, and hasn't finished that up yet. So now It Had to Be Us taking zone advantage, and they need that. They're down 55 to 27. Trying to get some shots down onto Zone C, but it's going to be tough with that Healing Rift down there. So instead, dropping down into the drain, waiting for somebody to challenge him here, trying to bounce up, see what's going on, and hopefully not get caught. And they're going to have to be careful coming around that side at head level because everybody is so good at landing those shots, jumping up over the box to try to take a couple shots there. And he's got one over, but gets taken down, and that's two down at once. Wrathful and Ryu going down. But Storm Trance coming out from Lost Ninja. He gets two in a row. Mansion and Deadly Hex going down to that Storm Trance. And they have the zone advantage, so they're starting to build this back up and get back into it. 58 to 37, a 20-point deficit right now, playing to 150 with 9 minutes and 30 seconds left to play. Ryu, a nice shotgun slide and make that a double, following it up, and doesn't have another right around that corner, but that would have been something. So now 58 to 41, Saya jumps over one player who's trying to push around that corner. Two have pushed back in and probably dropped down into Drain. An orb to pick up here, and that Supernova grenade came out, but didn't actually get anybody before Ryu went down.
And we're talking about timing. The way Control goes, it starts off, everybody's even. Nobody has supers. Everybody has all of their other abilities. And then you start working towards that first wave of supers. You typically see all 8 come out within about a 2-minute span, and then you start working around to another phase of it. And it's how you control the map during those times. Right now, another power play coming out from Mira, and they've got to get something going on. It Had to Be Us. This is going to start running away from them.
Yeah, Ryu going down again there. Before, I mean, sure, he was able to take out one with that melee kind of bouncing around with the shotgun before going down, and now spawning back up, getting ready to push out towards the drain. Nice hand cannon taps right there before missing a couple and going down to the hand cannon from Saab as they faced off over there in mid. So now with Wrathful kind of pushing around there and getting pushed on the corner, Wrathful making it work, taking out two and getting a double down as Say We Ain't gets another kill there with the smoke on Saab. So that's 3 down all of a sudden. And now the Daybreak coming out from Ryu, blasting his way across the map with that great speed and trying to get some kills this time. He gets one on Saab, a little bit of a payback for getting taken out there. Two with that long range throw across the side.
He's
and one
gonna
more
go for
is
the
spawned
spawn.
back up and trying to finish it, but instead going to have to switch to the hand cannon. He gets a nice 3-tap there with the hand cannon, despite not finishing up with the precision shot. It doesn't matter. 88 to 59, and they're trying to get a triple cap here so they can really start piling these points on and get something back.
And they're able to get it. And 2 members were over here on A capping that, while the other 2 members were doing a great job holding Mira off of Zone C. Deadly Hex finally able to, within an inch of his life, survive on Zone C. And look at that, Mira flipping it back on its head, able to take a bit of C. And also, now they've got the Nova Warp, start taking B as well. They've just flipped it back on its head.
And it's 2 to 1 now, zone advantage-wise. Mira has the advantage. And so there is Ryu going down to the Nova Warp from Saab as Lost Ninja's able to get one on his lost friends, Lost Boys. I guess I can't just call them Lost, I realize now. And it's 101 to 69, nice, with 6:50 left to play. And shots coming in on the Daybreak there. Not able to finish it off. Ryu going down again.
So close to taking out Deadly Hex there. They had a lot of damage down, but there was help. Deadly Hex had a teammate there, was able to get some bullets down, and he just barely ran out of that. And kind of got caught against the wall, probably used to going really fast, all of a sudden going really slow.
It is a change. It is something that you have to get used to. And so now Cyryu pushing around this outside, and they're going to have to make something happen. They're down almost 40 points here, going down again, getting taken out by Lost Boys. Lost Boys getting a double, actually, taking out Wrathful right after that. Cyryu spawning back up at 115 to 75, 6 minutes left to play here, and we're only playing a 150. So it's closing in on that kind of do or die moment.
And unfortunately for It Had to Be Us, I think we saw Lost Ninja pop the Storm Trance, but was unable to get any kills with it. So that is really going to hurt their ability to produce orbs and really start to mount a comeback, especially because Mira is closing in on the point total needed to win this game.
Yeah, Cyryu coming around the corner and trying to get some shots here, but it's feeling like it's going to be very difficult, and we can't hear their comps, so we don't know what they're talking about, but you wonder if there's a little bit of tilt creeping in as they are going down so much in this match. It's a lot less close than that last one was, which came down to the last point. Mira showing that they can dominate when it comes to playing these control match types. 130 to 78 now with 5 minutes and 10 seconds left to play. Cyryu spawning back up and pushing into the inside center, trying to finish that off, and is able to do that, but still down 1 zone to 2.
Yeah, there was only one instance where It Had to Be Us was able to acquire triple cap, and it did not last long, and Mira immediately getting 2 zones back and maintaining their what at the time was a 30 or 40 point lead. And now they've pushed it to about 50 with only 16 points needed left to win the game.
Yeah, Cyryu dropping that rift on there, but going to get challenged by Mansion and his arc staff, who's pushing up, deflecting all of those shots, and takes him out. And I think that was 2 from Mansion. He got 1 to start, finished it up with the kill on Cyryu, and now another on Say We Ain't. And that's another couple that's going to go 2 points for each of those, as I think that they might have lost zone advantage for a second in that, but just captured that back. So now Cyryu spawning back up, coming out from underneath, and going to have to watch out for that Nova Orb that's coming around, and 1 is taken out. Lost Ninja then with another kill there, and Deadly Hex and Saab kind of combining, 1 with a shotgun, 1 with the Nova Orb. 3 points left before this game is done. And we've got a Storm Trance. We've got 2 supers coming out at once, it looks like. Both a Storm Trance and something else, I think a Daybreak, as Cyryu comes out with the Daybreak, but too little, too late, not able to finish it off. And they're going to go down 2-0 as we look forward to the second setup here, which is going to be Countdown on Radiant Cliffs. All right, Xander. So here's what we're looking at right now. Mira is up 2-0 on It Had to Be Us. It Had to Be Us had kind of cruised through against both Legion and then against Radiant. And now here they are against Mira. Very, very close first match. That Supremacy match in the beginning within a couple points. Like, they kept that neck and neck. But Control, we see Mira really start to kind of pile on the pressure. Now we're going to Countdown, which is a game type that we've seen can kind of go either way, and it's been close in almost every match that we've seen of it. Like, Radiant played Mira really close in Countdown. So how do you think It Had to Be Us is going to fare in this?
Well, just like always, we're changing up the tempo when it comes, and these are all randomly drawn maps and modes, and as it just so happens, the third game of each series has gone to a countdown match, and it really just changes up the tempo of how these players need to be playing. Now they need to be very aware of their team positioning. If they get picked, they don't revive until the next round. There are no revives enabled in this mode for this tournament. So if they get picked, they're getting their teammates at a disadvantage. Right now, it could come down to a number, probably 1 or 2 things. Mira may be so confident that they can get those early picks that they get those early picks. And then just steamroll it into supers, into winning
Yeah.
the game, the match, and the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, it could be that they're overconfident, and this would be the moment for it had to be us to move in, and they've got to win the next 3 games to send it to a second grand finals.
And then they have to win all of those games.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and swap over here. And yes, we do. So something to think about here is now we're seeing this game played on Radiant Cliffs, which is a map that we had seen yesterday for a number of our countdown matches. And I know it's stuttering a little bit. We'll hopefully get that. There we go. Now it's working.
No, that's just the map.
Okay, that's just how the map works. Exactly.
The map is all vexy, so it's screwing with our technology.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the thing that's kind of interesting about Radiant Cliffs is that it's got longer sightlines, and it's kind of a bigger map than we've seen played for Countdown at any point today, which means this is one of the ones where everybody was checking to make sure that no snipers had been put on and that nobody was kind of updating their loadout for the longer range map that we're about to watch.
Yeah, now what I did see from a couple teams was I saw something, even saw a Mida come out. I saw Bygones around. And one of the things that I did hear, a couple members from a different team, they were running Lunas instead of running Not Forgotten. So the Not Forgotten team was very aware that they had the range on the Luna team.
Yeah.
And so they kept their engagements at those lengths. So we'll see if we see any of these these members switching over to what could be a Pulse, or if they're just going to stick with these Not Forgottens.
Yeah. So we've got Wrathful starting up and posting up in cave where it looks. Oh, some nice shots right out of the gate. And
nobody sees him.
He's just kind of hidden up there before getting pushed. Oh, and he gets another on Mansion.
Wrathful
trying to make a big play here. Wrathful.
All 4.
Team wipe from Wrathful. Oh my God.
All 4 to take that first round. That's exactly how they need to open this game. Wrathful leading the team, saying we're not done yet.
So that's got to give you a little bit of hype moving into this next part. Wrathful posted up over there in caves and just able to get everybody out, whether they were on long range across the cave or whether they were challenging him. Now we switch to It's Lost, who's moving around from Mira. And how are Mira going to respond in this one? Moving back towards the outside, it looks like, but I think that they're trying to defend right now. Yeah, they're trying to defend right now, and going down, that's one, and it's a 1v1.
Oh, it's 1v1, and Saab takes it, so that's all tied up 1-1. Ooh, and Wrathful was the last person to go down. Couldn't quite clutch that last one.
Couldn't quite do it, but still probably riding a little bit off of that momentum from the first round. So now we start off with It's Lost for Mira. They're playing to set, not to defend, and it looks like going to all 4 of them actually out to the tree. And are they going to set quickly is the question.
It doesn't look like they have yet, and that's something that's different from these teams versus
nice
Radiant that we saw eliminated earlier. Is they're just going and playing this kind of like a Counter-Strike match, and that they know they need to eliminate the players and not even go for necessarily the objective.
Yeah,
they can use that to set the tempo if they need to, but their primary is getting the kills.
Yeah, so now we're over on Saab for Mira, who just had a great end to that last round.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Taking the highest road in to get that, getting one of the hit for 57 there before moving into the caves. He got pings over on his left-hand side, but using the map to give a little bit of cover. You can see the cape flashing around the outside, trying to finish him off, and takes out Lost Ninja. I think only one person left on the other team, and that is a wipe, and all of a sudden, Mira is saying, all right, Wrathful,
Mira
you had a great
has
start,
come to life.
But they are combining for kills, team shots, all of this. They're doing everything that they need to do to make this work. And so now, still with Saab and Mira pushing over into the side, they've got a set this time. Let's see if they even go for that, or if they're just going to go once again for the wipe. Sticking very closely together as we swap over to Wrathful, and it had to be us.
Yeah, I think Wrathful's stream a little bit behind that of Mira's at the moment. No, I know. I meant, 5 seconds or so.
Oh, sure.
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
So right now, still 4-4, and I don't think anybody is set yet. They are still trying to defend, but they do have that. They do have that down, or the rift down on the inside, and it looks like just waiting to build some super before they go ahead and set that charge with a little bit of confidence, thinking that they will have no problem taking on anybody from It Had to Be Us that's going to push in there. So Wrathful now has one somewhere around that corner, but it's a 2v3, and that's one super already from Mira that hasn't come out yet, but it is charged up. Wrathful taking some shots kind of in the middle of the open
Wow.
there. Cyryu coming in with the finish on Lost Boys before Mansion takes out Cyryu with the shotgun, and it is a 1v2, make that a 0v2, and Mira takes a quick round.
Sob
4.
on a 10-kill streak after that first round, going down to Wrathful, has turned it around, gotten 10 eliminations in a row, and Sob has got that Nova Warp for being rewarded for staying alive for so long. So maybe we will see it, either that or the Arc Staff. Are they going to look to close this out? There we go. We've got one from Mansion. Deadly Hex taking out Lost Ninja. That is going to be one down.
Here's Wrathful with the Nova Warp, and they are not able to take him out. Wrathful pushing in. Okay, here's the time that we just saw, and Wrathful, did he get one with that? No, it actually went down to a shotgun on the inside. He's now pushing back into the cave and trying to get one, again going down to a hand cannon. This team still got the kill, but it went down to the hand cannon, and so now it is a 2v2. There are 2 supers on the side of Mira, no more supers on the side of It Had to Be Us. And you wonder which one's coming out. It is a Storm Trance.
You absolutely use this to seal this round and put the pressure on It Had to Be Us, putting them down 5-1. Is he able to get the kill? He's catching up with the Ionic Blink.
It was a nice move, though, or a nice team move there for It Had to Be Us, where Wrathful and Say We Ain't split on opposite sides of the map. It looks
and it's a 1v1.
Yep, Wrathful takes out Deadly Hex. It's a 1v1, and we can see Wrathful on the other side there. And Wrathful just trying to get the nade out, get some damage down, and win this 1v1, because nothing has been set at the moment. So it's really just a play on each other. Wrathful could go back and set, I think.
Wrathful's hand cannon shot has been so good lately. Unfortunately for him, his enemy right now, Lost, is on a rift, able to get that health back really quickly.
Wrathful, though, pushing over into the cave and going to see if he can get this charge set before Lost is able to come in. And now Lost is going to challenge him, and he wasn't able to get it set. Oh, no, he did get it set, but now Lost is going to have a little bit of time. Let that super build up as we go into this last. This is really the last possible round, because this is going to get
It could be
Mira
the last
up to
round
5.
of the tournament.
Yeah. So it's coming down to it right now. Only one more to play. This could be tournament match. That seems like a weird way to say
round
that.
game match tournament.
Yeah, like you'd say game, set, match. So yeah, round game match tourney. That, sure. Sure.
Maybe we just won't do that.
Maybe not. All right, so a couple shots coming out from down below. Deadly Hex with the Daybreak and the Nova Warp from Sob. Looks like they're just going to try to pop both of these supers at once.
They're going to brute
wipe
force
the
it.
team. And we've got Cyryu coming out with an Arc Staff, which is a change. Looks like Cyryu changed to a Hunter for this game type. So now on Cyryu with that Arc Staff coming out, pushing up, trying to jump and juke and move back and forth. Got one kill with it to start. Going to jump back up here, and right now they are down, though. Cyryu goes down. It's a 2v1. It's a 2v1 still, as we watch Wrathful.
Started off the game strong, and he's the last man standing. And that
is going to
be the round, the game,
the match, the tournament, all of these things. And that is going to be Mira in a 3-0 sweep in this final.
That's the advantages that you end up getting when you go from the winner's bracket. You don't have to you don't have to spend all that much effort or energy making it back up through the loser's bracket. You can just sit in the grand finals and just wait.
Yep, just
wait for your prey.
Sit and wait. So that's Mira winning. Let's go over and bring in FalloutPlays. FalloutPlays.
Hello, gentlemen.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Yeah. So you've seen the same matches that we've seen. What are your impressions of this tournament?
That I was watching the same matches that you were watching. Was I watching something else?
You were watching the basketball game, right?
Yeah.
That's what we
I
were
was watching the WNBA. I don't know what was going on with Twitch.
Yeah.
Great matches overall. That was fantastic. Loved the gameplay. It was really shocking. I mean, it had to be us. They were playing so strong right before they went into the grand finals. You know what I mean? It's hard to imagine
Yeah.
that
Oh
they wouldn't be
yeah.
able to carry that momentum. They just did so well on paper. You're like, oh, they got it. They got it made in the shade,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly.
And then they go into grand finals, and then Mira just gives them the hot 3-0. That was just fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to take into account. I guess we talked about it at the beginning too, but the fact that Mira has already done that once in this tournament. They 3-0'd It Had to Be Us like back in the second round of it, and I think when we watched It Had to Be Us and how easily they dealt with Radiant, that made us kind of think exactly what you thought. We're like, oh, they're playing really well though. They wiped Legion, they wiped Radiant.
Crazy.
Now they're coming into this one, and Mira's just like, hi.
Remember us?
We're still here.
Yeah. So overall, and now that we've kind of seen how this is played and brought you in for this and forced you to watch it so that you could know what you were talking about in the tournament, kind of what are your impressions on what you've seen from the team comps that some of these teams have been putting together, and what do you think they can look to do to take more advantage of some of these like super rotations and how they'll play together for future tournaments?
That's a great question. I don't really know. I mean, after the tournament, here's what happens. Every team is doing this right now. They're going into Monday quarterback mode, Monday morning quarterback. They're like, oh, what did we do wrong? Yeah, we had that one round. We were up. You know what I mean? We were up by like 20 points or whatever, and then they gave up and they choked and they lost it. So they're going to be going back, probably reviewing footage, talking about what they did correctly, talking about what they didn't do correctly, talking about what the team that won did correctly. What did the team that won do that we can kind of take glimpses of that strategy, pull it into our own rotation? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You bring up a good point kind of moving forward, and you can maybe speak to this a little bit in terms of some things to do if you've got any pointers or stuff like that. But when you bring up something like reviewing footage, which I'm sure that a lot of these players are, and going into it, checking back those tapes, seeing from all angles what happened, for players that might want to get into some of these things, do you have any thoughts on footage review, game type review, and how to kind of maybe say keep an open mind if you're looking at your past footage and trying to analyze what's been going on?
Look, you have to take emotion out of it. That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for players because I know that if I'm in a tournament and I get totally backhanded, the last thing I want to do is go in and start watching the footage and watching me choking my shots, messing up call-outs, making the wrong push, making the wrong play. But you have to do it. You have to go into like robot mode. Take your human soul, just throw it out the window because there's money on the line here, right? So they obviously want to come back. They want to do better in the next tournament. They want to win some cash. So you've got to watch the footage. Every time you make a mistake, take the emotion right out. You write it down. Here's what I did wrong. All right. It could be a technical mistake. It'd be like you had that guy, you missed your, magnificent howl, not forgotten headshot. Damn it. Okay, that's a technical mistake. You missed the 3-tap. That's fine. You write that down. But if there's a big strategic mistake, like if you made a wrong push, you poked the corner when you shouldn't have poked, you did something wrong fundamentally from your team's strategy point of view. That's the one that really sucks. It's really hard to deal with that, but it's very easy to identify. And then when you move forward scrimming with other teams, you got to remember, all right, man, on this map, last time we lost because, we didn't maintain control the way we wanted to. We gave up. We were challenging this lane way too many times when we shouldn't have been. We weren't on this half of the map. We weren't controlling the spawn. We weren't rotating together. You know what I mean? Review your footage, take emotion out of it, do better next time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you learn the most from watching footage of games that you've lost. And there's plenty of, for every win that teams like Mira or It Had to Be Us had, there's a team that lost on the other side. And so in order to improve,
got to check back on that, take a look at it. And we made the comment, too, that for some, Mira was made up of 2 members of It Had to Be Us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Itself. So these are people that know each other, and which can also be a benefit. Now, I know the last thing that you want to do is go to the guys that just beat you and say, what did we do wrong? What did you guys exploit when we were doing this?
How did you beat us?
Yeah. Why were we
Walk us
bad?
through that butt kicking minute by minute. You know what I mean?
Here's where we said, oh, this was terrible. Why did you guys do this?
And this is where you crash.
Look, in games like this, you can look at the surface and you can be like, okay, Mira pulled off the 3-0. Now, if you were to just read that, you'd be like, wow, It Had to Be Us. They got destroyed. A 3-0. You know what I mean? That's big. But if you look at the game by game match.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much of a blowout. I mean, Countdown is pretty brutal because of the nature of Countdown. You know what I mean? Whatever team wins the opening engagement, usually you just kind of carry that momentum. It's like, you have to play defensively and use your lives, But like the very first match we watched, it was Clash, right? I mean, weren't they kind of going back and forth, punch for punch for a while? Supremacy, excuse me. They were going back and forth for a while. There wasn't a gigantic gap like you would expect to see a 3-0 on paper. You know what I mean? So it's not like you have to make completely new changes to your strategy. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you do have to go through. You have to find out where you made mistakes, and you make those little corrections in your team's gameplay that'll carry you further next time you play.
Yeah, and sometimes you can also just have a bad series.
Yeah, for sure.
And try not to take like the loss to heart too much, and try not to take the hurt.
Yeah.
Turn it around. That's why this is a season. There's more tournaments, and every single one of these players have you need to at least 3 online tournaments to qualify for the LAN. All of these players have one under their belts and a learning experience. So
yeah, and so I guess we'll kind of leave off with that. Fallout, thank you so much for jumping in with us. Maybe we'll see you in future.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for having me. Hit me up anytime.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, now back over with us, and we will kind of finish this out. We're going to jump in over to the screen that's up on the stream at the moment. We've got a couple stats that are up, and we'll probably leave you with that just to review that as it goes on. But Mira is the winner of this first GetRekt Tournament Series they're the champion of the first GetRekt Tournament Series tournament. It's a lot of tournament. They are taking home that 400-pound prize, and I hope the backs are strong. And we look forward to seeing everybody for the next one. Check out GetRekt on Twitter. I think it's at GetRekt_live.
Sounds right.
I think something like that, or Anubis Gaming, or any of these guys that are part of it. And we'll leave you with some stats over on the screen. And thanks for watching.